back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition here of the PiGosaur Cup. The PiGosaur Cup number 65. Your weekly dose of PiGosaur Cup action. Hello, welcome, and all. I'm Coach VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in chat as well. Welcome, one and all, to a replay cast. Bear that in mind, this is going to be a catch-up stream, and we are running out of catch-up streams, thankfully, where we've been slowly working our way through. Just to kind of re-emphasize once again, unfortunately, we were very unavailable in January of this year. We were very unavailable, and because of that, we did miss out on a bunch of broadcasts, and we've been catching up. We've been spending basically most of February live casting, but also catching up on a bunch of missed tournaments like Thunderfire, Rongi Cup, some PiGosaur Cups, some Water TV Mondays as well. But we are almost completely caught up at this point. We just have a couple more to go over, including Homestar Cup. True that this morning, if you missed it, this morning we did finish catching up with Homestar Cup number 28, crowning our champion, of course. If you missed it, I do recommend checking out those VODs. Meanwhile, we're here to catch up with PiGosaur Cup number 65. I believe the only one left is going to be number 66, and then we're caught up at that point, and we can start focusing on catching up on other events. There's still a lot to catch up on, like StarCraft Evolution. If you recall, we haven't casted some StarCraft Evolution in quite some time. It actually began last week, back up again. We just weren't able to cast it live, so we also had to catch up on some SEL as well. We'll get there. Until then, though, we are jumping into the quarterfinals. Quarterfinals here at PiGosaur Cup number 65. It's going to be a best of 3 between Cure and Creator. Let's go. Bearing in mind, this event is typically live at a more Korean and North American friendly time slot. Europeans are a rarer sight in these events. Rarer, but not, you know, unseen. There are definitely a sect of European degens that do stay up on a regular basis to compete in this event. Players like MaxPax, players like Clem, Geralt, GG Machine, Nicarat. Those are the players that do come to mind. Players that stay up deep late into like 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the morning to compete. They're animals. They're animals, baby. They're animals. They're degens. But here we go. For now, though, we're going to be jumping into the quarterfinals, and game 1 is going to be on the Old Republic. Let's go. You're catching up with the catch-up streams. We are, unironically. we're catching up, man. We're catching up. But here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss. It is Creator. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Terran player, the South Korean Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Go. As the end, for the majority of January, Cure, he was less available. He was more missing in action, but did more recently return and has been back on that grind. Likewise, I mean, Creator, like many others as well, also did take some time off coming into December, coming into January, but now is back in full swing, and we'll see how they compare to each other. I feel like traditionally I would be favoring Cure coming into this series, but I do know that Creator has been on that grind as of late as well. Let's go. Let's get ready. I'm excited. For now, we're going to be jumping into our best of 3. Bearing in mind for this tournament, one of the unique features of the PiGosaur Cup is that the semifinals are best of 5. So best of 5 semis and best of 5 finals as well. We'll get there. We will get there. Until then, though, we have our TVP. So far, so good. Economic opener at Akira going for a single gas, going for a Rax expand. Meanwhile, Creator likewise going for his own gate expand as well. So standard economic openers, everything's looking normal so far. Now, when it comes to Cure's recent playstyle, we have seen a lot of aggression out of Cure in TVP. A lot of aggression, a lot of 2-base play, a lot of 2-base timings, a lot of all-ins as well. So I'm leaning towards that here as well. I say that, I kind of have to eat my words a little bit. We are on the Old Republic. This isn't the best map for 2-base all-ins and 2-base play. Like, typically this leads into the mid game, but I just don't know if Cure really wants to embrace the mid game at the moment. Right now, the TVP meta, if you go to the mid game, you go to the late game, to be honest. Like, we have a lot of later games, and that's kind of been the trend as of late, which is why we've been seeing another uptick of aggression from the side of Terran players to end the game early, to try to stay away or steer away from that kind of longer later game play style. Here we go. Here we go. For now, Cure, he does scout the nearby proxy location. The reason why he's doing this as well is because, remember, Cure, no SCV scout. There's no SCV scout, there's no Reaper scout. So because he doesn't actually know if he has to look for anything, he's just playing it safe by checking the nearby locations with his early Marine. Just being safe, as he doesn't know if anything's missing or not. And this getting to his own reacted marine. We often do see racks into expand into, say, safety cyclone, but here there's no early tech lab. I would say that Cure is being quite greedy. It's being quite greedy here. Likewise, Creator has his tech of choice going for a Twilight Council. Speaking a little bit on Creator's playstyle, we often do see Creator mix things up quite a bit. Whether it's Twilight Council, Stargate, Robo, Creator, he's very fond of mixing up builds and mixing up tech in mid-series, mid-matchup, in TVP. So for now it looks standard, but I would expect to see some more diversity as the series progresses. For now, it is going to be Twilight Council in the blink. How many gateways? Because of the size of the map, I'm leaning more towards 2 gate blink into a third base, which is a very greedy opener and greedy playstyle. If we want to be safer, we could throw down a third gateway. We could throw down a Robo as well before expanding. That's Cure does fan out with that one Hellion. Just trying to get some scouting information. Meanwhile, we have the answer here. It is going to be a Robo before Nexus. So again, it's going to be a bit of a safer start here by Creator. That Robo does allow for early observers, early detection, vision, and also immortals if need be. As Cure, he has been reactivating at Marines this entire time, by the way, and you wouldn't be doing that without intent to use it. As here we go, we do start to push. Medevac is on the way. We have the Cyclone as well, and here comes Cure pushing it with everything across the map. This is a very early timing. This is a very unorthodox timing as well. As I mentioned before, it's much more standard to not have the reactor on the rack, so we have a massive amount of Marines here. There's no stim. True. There's no stim. This is really just a buffer for the Cyclone. Cure does push to the center, hoping to catch any stray units. So Cure actually turns back around back home. Okay, never mind. Turns around with the Cyclone, now going for the medevac drop into the main. Speaking of, Stalkers are in position. And Creator even going for the Bay on 2 bases. Jesus, this is very safe play. Very late third. Cure, this might also be one of the reasons why he actually turned back around. There's no third base, right? If there was a third, then Cure, yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure the Hellion did push forward and did scout ahead of time. If there was a third base, then Cure would have committed, but there was no third expansion, so Cure gets the hell out of there, confirming that there should be a larger army to defend. So Cure, that's why he did race back home. And again, Creator is building up to Colossus. Does get his third base, but again, much later. I'll say a third. Colossus is going to be on the way. Yeah, an interesting start to things here. We're in a really weird kind of game state where Cure wanted to hit a timing and he kind of missed his opportunity. At the same time, like Creator, he's also delaying his own economy as well. So I think I do want to give the edge here to Creator just because this build is a little bit, it hasn't really been, stopped, hasn't really been deterred. He's able to settle into his early Colossus and be safe. Oh, spot CCV. Nice delay. That's Cure's third base is yet to begin. It was going to be on location. Yep, now it's on the high ground. Meanwhile, the tank is a little bit too far back. Yeah, it's too far back. The bunker goes down. Nice pick up here with the Stalkers. Creator backs off. Once again, trying to slow down the army. Oh, going for the Raven. Oh no! The Raven almost goes down, one shot away from falling. Ay, ay, ay. Oh god. Calm down with the Raven back. There's a recall. Another Stalker goes down. I believe that's 2 Stalkers falling. 3 Stalkers even. So get the drop into the main. Colossus in position. Medevac goes down. It's going to be a one-way trip, but still 8 probes go down. Nice damage here by Cure. Hey, workers full. Main army does push. And Cure still has that Raven. Ah, never mind. Never mind. So nice time to out of Creator. He's trying to slow this down. We got 2 Colossus defensively, thanks to Siege. Just in time. Tanks they do Siege up. And Creator, he's hurting. He already had a late third base, now losing an extra workers. That was 9 probes going down. And Cure backs off. I do like this. Like Kira, he sees and he respects the fact that there are already 2 Colossus. Again, it's been early Colossus production, so he respects it, backs off, pulls away, claims his 3rd base. Overall, a nice win here for Kira. Catching Stalkers, crippling the economy, and getting ahead. As now it's Creator's turn to counterattack. Again, the pressure is on Creator. As he moves out, Kira moves in. Oh, he could even go for the Bay, but now going for the mineral line. Yeah, probes are going down. Recall's on cooldown. Remember, it was just used to get into the main. Yeah, extendable lance is going to be denied, and Creator, he's all in. At this point, he's all in. It's all or nothing. Oh no! Ooh, it does take one shot to the face. Boys are being pulled. Kira only has to survive. Just survive, just defend. Easier said than done, but does get on top of the Stalkers. Yeah, all the Stalkers are going down. The Colossus are exposed, and Kira's done it. Kira. I say that Zealot weapons do finish. Okay. Zealots have finished warping in. The Colossus, they still barely stand. But they're there. He's doing it. Creator, he breaks through that defensive line, breaks the 3rd base, pushing into the natural, and now there's just the main. Only the main remains. Liberation has arrived. Kira trying to make a stand. Can he get on top of the Colossus? He's on a move, but there we go. One Colossus gets targeted. And GG gets called. Kira, he does hold on. He cleans up the army just barely, and Kira takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, that was a messy defense there by Kira. Creator, he was able to break through, get damage done at the natural, at the 3rd base as well. But in the end, his main army did crumble. He bled out too many Zealots. His Colossus were exposed. Kira, he held on to the main base. GG. GG, well played. Again, as again, there was just nothing else across the map. The double drop that had hit the natural had just overwhelmed. Killing the natural and the main as well. Just the economy, the upgrades, the tech. GG. GG, well played. With that, Kira does take a lead in the series, and now we're going to be jumping into game number 2. Let's go. Loading into Winter Madness. And spawning in the top left-hand corner here of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and make a series out of this. It is a Creator. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran player. The red Terran player himself, the South Korean Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Kyor. Here we go. You're not wrong, Iceland. You did get there first. So I was just catching up. Let's go. Let us go. We're going to be settling into that second game. Again, we did end up seeing aggression out of Kira, I guess, in some way. Creator, he was trying to be very safe. The downside, though, of course, as Creator did go for a safe build, staying on 2 bases, getting a faster Colossus, is that despite that, the drop play did pull him apart, and he still lost 9 probes in the main. To lose that many workers, while also delaying your own expansion, you just fall further and further behind, right? That's why in the end, Creator, he was kind of forced to commit, forced to move out. And then, of course, we had Kira backstab at the same time to just confirm and secure the all-in. So just a rough early game there from Creator. We'll see if we can tighten up. See if we can tighten up. So we're getting into game 2. Once again, economic start at a Cure. Ooh, not off center. Cure was slightly delayed and of course had to bring down the second SCV, but Cure does expand. Expands. Creator settling in. Welcome to Winter Madness. Winter Madness is a more larger macro map in the map pool. Longer rush distance by ground. Secure bases, at least more secure than Old Republic. We'll see how our players adapt. Once again, Cure does check and does scout the nearby proxy location. Making sure he's safe. Once again, we have reacted Marines. There's no early Tech Lab, so there's no add-on swap into an early Cyclone. So far, this is the same build. Same build 2 games in a row. Meanwhile, Creator opening up Blink once again. Now, last game, this became a 2-gate Blink into a Robo, into a Bay on 2 bases, into Colossus, then into a delayed 3rd expansion. I feel like there's less reason to do that here on Winter Madness. We should be seeing something more economic here, but we'll see. At the end of the day, Creator, he does things his own way. He often does come up with his own builds, or he does kind of like stand against the meta and does things like his own preferred style. We saw that last game. There's pros, there's cons. Hello. So this is going to be a 2nd and a 3rd gateway. Okay, so this time he's going for a higher gateway count. We could take it a step further here as well. Do we go for the Robo? We do. Robo into potentially even another gateway here, regardless of a much more aggressive start here from Creator. Hunting for the Adept. Cyclone has arrived. And once again, it's the same build, right? It's reacted Marine into Cyclone into Medevac into a push across the map early on. If you recall, this was designed to break the 3rd base. This time, I believe, is there a Hellion? No. Okay, this time there's no Hellion, so there's no scouting. There's no kind of forewarning. Here he commits. He will confirm there is no expansion. No 3rd. But he will catch a Stalker. Yeah, nice pickup. Blink is not yet done. Cyclone does give chase, and one Stalker barely gets away. Creator's getting a shield. He's getting a shield battery with the natural. Another battery in the main. So far, it's on 3 gateways, but Cure, he's going to commit in. Yeah, he does commit this time. Does with the battery. And Cure, he has to respect this. Respect it, pulls away, and doesn't bleed out too much. Oh, but he's still rallying. No, my apologies. He's going for 2 ace all in. He's rallying out tanks, rallying out Banshees as well. Cure, he's committing. He's trying to catch the army in the center of the map. He's trying to catch that Creator, and he will. Massive tank shot. Gets 1 volley off. Gets a 2nd. Oof. Yeah, 2nd tank shot as well. Cure, he's getting another Rax. Again, he's being hyper aggressive. Creator, he slips by. Base trade? Are we? Cure, does he turn around? We gotta make a choice. We gotta make a choice. He boosts. Here we go. Creator into the main. Cure, he commits across the map. We're going for the base trade. Let's go. The main base is evacuated. Cure, he does pull the hell out of there. He's got a tank on the way. Can he save the tank? Can he save it? Up. Tank pops out. Yeah, we got the tank, we got 2 Marines. Tank is going to be targeted down. At the same time, Cure is pushing in towards the natural. Back at home, there's nothing to defend. Oh no, the Raven gets 1 auto turret. Yeah, throws down 1 turret. Raven goes down. Meanwhile, Creator, he has no warpins in the main. Yeah, there's no warpins. Likewise, Cure, he shouldn't waste too much time here at the natural. Yes, he kills all the probes. Yes, he depowers Zoro, but we got to get into the main base. We got to get on top of the gateways. We need to get on top of those gateways. Another tank falls. Oh, recalls back home. Recalls to the 3rd. Recalls to the 3rd base. Tanks are pre-sieged. An interesting recall here by Creator. I don't know if I'm in love with it here. He still does leave a little supply across the map. Creator's going to try to surround into 2 tanks. There's just a lot here to punish. Charge is not yet done. There are no zealots anyway. And because he recalled, now he has less units across the map. He's being cleaned up. Cure, he defends. Yeah, he defends, and this recall, I think it was misjudged. As you can see here, the recall's not achieving anything. Instead of a recall, we could have killed every single SCV here and all the production. Yeah, like, Cure, he's stabilizing back at home. He's back to mining. Creator going for the dive. He will clean up these tanks. Losing 1, 2. 3, 4, 5 stalkers. Oh god, losing so many stalkers. That was not worth it. The prism goes down. Oh no. And with that, Kurizana. GG gets called, and Cure, he will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. Whew, GG, well played. A very chaotic game number 2 here, where we had an aggressive start at a Cure, we had an aggressive start at a Creator, and in the end they just passed by each other. We went for the base trade. Unfortunately, in this game of Chicken, Creator did flinch. Creator, he flinched. He always had the recall available. He chose to recall back home. And as you saw, the recall didn't achieve anything. I would say it hurt him more than anything. It hurt him because he split up his army, right? He split up his army. He left, I think it was 4 Stalkers and 2 Adepts in the main base of Cure to try to clean everything up. But they got surrounded. They got cleaned up by the boys and by the production as well. So he bled out those units. And also by recalling, he didn't really achieve much either. Like he could not push in. To be fair, like if Cure was unsieged, then maybe the Stalkers could justify diving on the army ahead of time and cleaning the army up. But the tanks were pre-siege. Cure, he was already set up in the main base, and yeah, Creator, he was just stuck looking at him, essentially just stuck looking at the army, just could not engage, and essentially was wasting all that potential DPS where he could have just committed to the base trade and caused a bunch of chaos, and it could have been crazy. Could have been crazy. It's hard to win a base trade, of course, as the buildings would lift, they'd be safe against the Stalkers, but he would at least stifle the production, and then with mass splitting Stalker, he could maybe pick away at the Terran army bit by bit. But GG. GG, well played. With that, that does mean our quarterfinals are wrapping up. Cure does advance on to the semis, and we're going to be following Cure into those semi-finals. It is going to be another TVP. Shouldn't be a surprise here. It is kind of like the go-to matchup when it comes to StarCraft at the moment. Cast a lot of TVPs. But it is going to be another matchup. It is going to be instead, Cure versus herO in another Terran versus Protoss matchup. Here we go. Now, bearing in mind this is going to be a semi-finals match, and specifically for this tournament, semi-finals are best of 5s. Best of 5s. Let's go. Here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner here of Ruby Rock, we have the South Green Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Here we go. We're jumping into our semi-finals, and even though we have the same matchup, a very different opponent here. herO, he is often one that dictates the pace of the meta even. herO, he's a much more aggressive player as well. He's willing to play macro, don't get me wrong, but I would say his macro, especially in TVP, is a little bit weaker compared to Classic, for example. I say this about Classic's Protoss versus Terran and Protoss versus Zerg as well. I do think that Classic has the best late game out there against Zerg and against Terran for sure. herO's isn't bad, but Classic, he is a bit of a step above. But what herO has over Classic is the early and the mid game. Like the early and mid game is where herO does thrive. It is where he can be hyper aggressive, hyper assertive. He is very willing to mix up his builds, go for different tech structures, go for Stargate openers, Robo, Twilight Council, different variations as well. And he can be a very difficult player to read and to keep up with. Here we go. Here we go. So now we are going to be opening up Gate Expand into Cybercore at a herO. Meanwhile, Cure going for, mixing it up quite heavily here. Double gas for the first time in this broadcast. Double gas opener at a Cure, going for a faster factory, going for a delayed command center. But welcome one all to Ruby Rock. Ruby Rock is one of the smaller maps in the map pool. Aggression is favored on this map, so it makes sense to be a little bit more tech heavy here from the side of the Terran player. We'll see how assertive herO is going to be. El Chanchito, papi. We do have to remind them. I mentioned something previously, I guess I'll reiterate, but specifically for PiGosaur Cup, something that's unique about something that's unique about this tournament is that semifinals are best of 5, and that is unique, that is rare for open cups. Open cups, they usually have a best of 3 semifinals, so it's very common that players that play and everything don't remember, or don't they just don't remember or don't realize the difference. And there have been instances where they vetoed for a best of 3, and then it's like, no, it's the best of 5 pack. We got to keep going. They're like, oh, it's time to re-veto. Not uncommon for players to forget. That this is the one tournament that is different in that way. How dare we ask players to remember the rules of a tournament? How do you... no. I mean, there's some unique features about Monday Night Weeklies, for example. Like Monday Night Weekly, what makes that event stand out is the fact that it's double elimination. True. So Monday Night Weekly is double elimination. PiGosaur Cups have best of 5s in the semis. For our tournaments, we hold semis, so we cast both. That's both semifinals. And we have the random raffle as well. True, true. So I guess each event has their own little spin to it. Secure does break in. It does break in, and KDA charge will knock out the army. Yeah, it does create an opening. Reaper Hellion dives into the main base, but so far, oh, Hellion goes down, Reaper goes down. We got 2 Reapers and 1 Hellion left over. How many probes do we kill? 2. Only 2. Oh, do we get 3? 3 probe kills, and that is 3 probes for 3 Hellions and sorry. Oh wait, what? Am I crazy? Okay, never mind. 3 probes for 2 Reapers and a Hellion. So, oh my apologies. I assumed that these 2 units died. That's why I was like, wait, what? What happened to the other Reaper and Hellion? I assumed they went down. No, they survived. So a 1-to-1 trade. And meanwhile, we do slip back into the main. Okay, going for more damage. And can we pick up another 2 workers? Can we get at least 1? No. Never mind. Does 9% mining time at least, but in the end, I would say this is a stronger defense out of herO. As herO, he only loses 3 workers for 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions, so that was a much better trade for the Protoss, as that was not even a 1-to-1 trade. Behind this, we do have tank production and Cloak Banshee as well. Cure, he's doubling down, being much more aggressive. Bearing in mind, this was an earlier factory, an earlier starport into earlier Banshee play. Oh boy. First Banshee is moving out. Now herO did go for his earlier robo. Yeah, he does have his robo. Oh, actually herO, sorry, my apologies, I kind of glossed over this. herO, he does not go blink, he goes into charge instead. And this is what we spoke about. Early charge here does allow for herO to actually move out early on as well, to try to break a defending player as they take their 3rd base. But now though, Banshee into the main, gets spotted by herO. Observers moving in. Observer does move in, and herO going for the Stargate? Is herO making a Stargate just to make a singular Phoenix just to hunt down this Banshee? It is possible. It's possible. We've seen this before. It might just be for the singular Phoenix. Okay. Meanwhile, second Banshee does arrive here at the 3rd. Getting 1, 2, 3, 4 probe kills. Not bad at all. 5 probes go down. Yeah, herO completely out of position. He had his 2nd observer here at the natural, not at the 3rd. herO caught with his pants down, and Cure, he makes up for his earlier losses with the Reaper Hellion. As again, because of the opener, he has been getting to tank production very early on. He's already got 3. 3 tanks are moving out. Stim will not be a factor here. Stim is still a ways away. But if these tanks, if they can get within range of the Nexus, they can kill. And there's nothing to stop him. The problem here is that herO, he's preoccupied. He's preoccupied, he's busy in the main, busy in the natural, busy defending. There's that 1 Phoenix. Tank will siege. Charge shots, is that going to be enough? Yeah, the tanks are within range of the Nexus. herO, he has to commit. Oof. He gets 1, he gets 2, he's going to get all 3. Yeah, he's going to get all 3. Again, the power of early charge. Remember, herO did not open blink, he opened charge. And charge is designed to shut down these tank pushes. Ay. A clean defense here by herO. Cure didn't realize. Again, if he realized it was charge and not blink, he should not have been there. Ay. The Phoenix does give chase. And Cure is in a rough position here. He played into herO's hands. Yeah, he played into his hands in the end. It all just lined up for herO. herO potentially overextending here. Yeah, we gotta calm down. The SimCity is solid. But Kira's in a rough position. Kira's in a very, very rough position. He lost all of his tanks, he lost all of his bio. That was a very inefficient fight for the Terran. And the Phoenixes did end up hunting down those Banshees. Yeah, there's no Banshees left. No Banshees remaining. Here he does slip by across the map, going for the drop into the main. There's a third TC on the way. Kira's going to try to macro out of this. Meanwhile, Kira's out of position. Sorry, Hero's out of position. Fourth base is exposed. Here's Zelson to the main. At the same time, this fourth base should be cancelled. Can he save it? The Woodwinds don't burrow. Ooh, the Woodwinds did not burrow. Yeah, a bit of miscontrol here by Kira. Does burrow 2 in the end. Decent connections. Does get some decent connections. But again, we could have had more shots going up. And with that, Hero holds. Wow. Here he does hold on across the map. Got 5 SCV kills. Distracted Cure. And Hero settling in. Building on more Colossi. Blink. Extend more Lance. Cure, he's once again rallying across the map. He wants to break that fourth base. He needs to. Remember, Cure, he's down 2 expansions, by the way. He's got 2 bases against 4. He's got to do something. Oh, trying to force friendly fire. A nice drag there from Hero. Does drag into the medevacs. Zelsa give chase. Wooden Mines, they do not burrow in time. Yeah, the mines don't burrow. You're just warping into the face of Cure. Oh no. And Curie's bleeding out too much. He's bleeding out too much here. Finally can take his third base. But Curie, he's now vulnerable to a counterattack. He's vulnerable. Here come the Zilla Warpins. Here it can start to push. He can start to move out. Now getting a second robo, getting a 5th expansion. Ay, ay, ay. Dark Shrine is on the way as well. A little bit unnecessary. I would say I don't think Hero needs it, but sure. Why not? Why not, man? And there's not much here to work with. The Cure, he's just now going to reactive Viking production and making 4 Vikings at a time. Will help. Cure, he's getting there. Has begun the Ghost production as well. But here it does have a terrifying army. Not just posturing. Again, there's no pressure on Hero. There's no pressure. He's on 5 aces. He's fine. He's on 82 probes. You may be looking at this and be like, oh, the supplies are relatively close. The soup is lying. Here, the only reason is because workers are long distance mining. Once the space gets fully operational, then Hero can max out. But avoids the mine, blinking into the army. He's crazy. He has control of the ramp. The boys are being pulled. Yeah, the boys are being pulled. Zelsa tied the main army. Colossus are exposed, losing 1, losing up to 2. Yeah, 2 Colossus go down. Yeah, here in an awkward position here, he's going to lose all 3 Colossi, and he has to get the hell out of here. He's forcing the all-in. He's forcing the all-in. He just killed 23 SCVs. But again, here he got flanked, and this is his moment. This is Cure's time. It's his time. Send it, Cure. Send it. Oh, no. Oof. Losing 2 Vikings. Yeah, leaves out 2 Vikings, but again, Cure, he can end the game here and now, and looks like he will. Oh, the Artosis Pylon! Depowers the robo! Yeah, the pylon goes down. Oh, we have DTs in the mix. Uh-oh. Okay, Dark Templar, they do move in. There's a scan. You can see Hero with the F2. Does have 1 Colossus. He's got 1. Second robo is being repowered. Shield battery putting in a lot of work. But there should be enough bio on the ground. He should get on top of the Colossi. Oh. Does bring it down. Third base is now broken. Another Colossus on the way. Here, can he pull off this defense? Can he need a little bit more time? The Colossus has arrived. F2, Pappy, F2. Go for it. Okay, here he's going to bleed out more Stalkers. There are just so many Vikings. Yeah, the Colossus doesn't even matter. Oof. Colossus goes down, and with that, Cure will start things off with the lead. We'll start things off with the lead here. This was a shaky game here for Cure, but herO overextended. He overextended. I say overextended. He just didn't realize that Cure was in a way out of position. Cure, he was able to flank the army coming in from multiple angles. And with that, Cure has done it. Oh my Jesus, never mind. We do have a Warpit available. I just realized here he's got 800 minerals in the gas in the bank. Was he missing Warpins? So, but it seems like he was. Jesus. What's crazy is here he lost what, 30 probes? He's still ahead. Like, he's still up in workers. The 5-base economy here is insane. GG. herO, he does hold on, he does defend, and herO does not get punished. It was close. It was very, very close. But herO takes game number 1. Wow. GG. GG, well played. herO, he does take a lead in this series. Again, Cure, that was his time, that was his moment. herO did make a mistake. herO did misjudge. He did overextend. He lost his Colossus as he moved that across the map. He was flanked by the army, and even though he killed all the SCVs, like, that was Cure's time to shine. That was his time to move that across the map to end the game. But as you saw, herO, he did barely buy enough time for extra Warpins. Because of his 80 probe count, even though he did lose the mineral line, he still had plenty of mining, plenty of workers, and plenty of Warpins as well. To the point where it looked like herO was missing Warpins. It looks like he was, in the midst of all the chaos, he was missing Warpins, he was banking supply, or banking resources, I should say. And in the end, herO survived, defended, deflected. GG. Wow. GG, well played. With that, herO takes the lead, and we're going to be loading into game number 2, going to be loading into Tourmaline. Buenos días, buenos días. La grasa. Buenos días. And spawning in the bottom hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss leading the series 1-0. Representing T1, it is herO. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Go. But again, a very chaotic end to the game, I will say, as Cure, I believe that he was going to punish. He was meant to punish, and he did. Like, he was able to achieve a lot of damage, of course, but he had no longevity here behind it. He had no economy, he had no production. He could not sustain himself. It was all or nothing. Cure was all in, and he barely didn't have enough. And once again, do you see what I see? Double gas open out to Cure. Last game, this led into Reactor Reaper Hellion, into a more aggressive start, into the follow-up as well. This time, I wouldn't be surprised if herO goes charge again. Welcome to Tourmaline. Tourmaline is another smaller map, another smaller map in the map pool. Shorter rush distance by ground. Aggression is favored. We saw a very aggressive game last game on Ruby Rock. We expect something similar here on Tourmaline. But I'm torn. Because of the charge-based opener that herO went for, maybe Cure doesn't go for the early push. Maybe he doesn't commit, and if he doesn't, then herO won't be as successful. He won't gain as much value from early charge. This is where mind games and the series comes into play, where one game can inform the other. So we'll see how players adapt and evolve. Now herO does go for a standard opener. Standard button. Likewise, last game we had Cure going into the Cloak Banshees, which again herO responded with Phoenixes, which is crazy. It worked. I mean, we have seen Banshees be so annoying and so frustrating to deal with. I guess it also makes sense because herO didn't open Blink. True. Like, that's also probably a big deciding factor there. So he had to go Phoenixes without Blink Stalkers. For now, though, once again, a Twilight Council opener out of herO. We're assuming Blink, but hey, last game was Charge. Cure this time only making 2 Reapers. Okay, only 2 Reapers, then going for the add-ons, going into early Cyclone. This time Cure is not committing as hard into Reaper Hellion. Three they poke in. Getting one probe so far. That's one. As being chased down, gets a second probe. Not bad. Do we get three? Up. Oh my god. Two probes go down in the end. herO does surround. It does clean up. It could have been a lot worse here, but not the worst trade for Cure. You got a full scout. Meanwhile, this time a standard opener opening up Blink. Blink out of herO, getting his Robo on 2 bases as well. Does go for the Robo. Yes, herO does lay some mining at least, gets 1 SCV, but shouldn't get much more than that. Oof. Yeah, losing 2 adepts. Some brutal losses for herO. Cure getting into earlier tank production, earlier medic as well, earlier drop play. Okay, this time no tech lab, no cloak banshee. Going for a later tech lab. We'll see if he still commits. Otherwise, should just be a raven. Here comes your early drop. As Cure moves out, Adept moves in. There's nothing here to defend. Gets an SCV. Gets 1. Gets 2. Shouldn't get 3. Let's get here. He does shade away. Soldiers are moving out. Cure still slipping out across the map. Now, again, here he should have recognized that the Cyclone was missing, that in general units were missing. That should have registered for herO. He has no units back at home. hero's claiming his 3rd base. He's moving out, and this drop has potential. Has potential here. herO claims his 3rd. As herO moves in, that should activate the drop. Clicks into the main. It does go for the dive. Gets 1, gets 2 SCVs. Cyclone does catch one of the Stalkers. Ooh. As we pick up a 3rd SCV. Medevac now moving in. A bit of a late reaction, but does move in. This tells me that I believe a Warpin is available defensively. Jumping to the mineral line. Ooh, here he commits into the natural. Losing more Stalkers. Yeah, more Stalkers going down, forcing the recall. That's going to be 6 probe kills. Very nice damage here by Cure. Does boost away. Here comes the main push. He doesn't pull the boys with this, but I believe it's 3. Yeah, 3 tanks. 3 tanks, the Raven, the Marines. This is very similar to the push that we saw last game. Very, very similar. And this time Blink is confirmed. He knows that there's no charge. So Cure, he can pull this off. So far he's unscouted, and once again, can he get within range of the 3rd base? He's spotted. Here he does react. Go for the feedback. Charge not yet done. Lock it on the War Prism. Prism does get away. Nice feedback on the Yoda turret. It's on the Raven. But still, there are 3 tanks. It might just be too much. Up. Yeah, massive tank shots on the Stalkers. Boys are being pulled. herO getting desperate. And here he does get one of the tanks. He does get the 2nd. Can he get the 3rd tank? Oh my god, the army's so low. The juggling! Oh my god. The juggling with the Immortal. Yeah, he juggles on forward, takes down the tank. Very nice defense here by herO. Ay, ay, ay. With the Prism, an Immortal, an Archon, and a Stalker, he was able to just micro his heart out. herO defends, but at a cost. Did cost him 7 probes. 7 probes went down. Here he's lost 15 workers throughout the course of this game. The one upside, no 3rd CC. This was a borderline 2-base all-in. This 3rd base needed to have started much earlier. Because it just now began, herO, yes, he lost a bunch of probes. It's still okay. Like, he can still afford that. His opponent is still far behind economically. Or at least far behind when it comes to his 3rd base. So here he can still recover. Here Sims in. And once again rallies across the map. What am I to borrow? He's here looking for a third. And has to be careful. Observer gets spotted. Storm of the mines. Storm of the main army. And here it does give chase. How many storms does he have? He has 3 High Templar, 2 storms to the main army. That's a lot of storms. He's got his 2 storms. And here, can he break through? Meanwhile, Cure popping out with the EMP just in time. Very nice EMP. Okay. Denies the storms. And Cure holds. Cure, he holds well. Does catch the Immortal. Barely not. Ourselves to the High Templar. Getting 1, getting 2 High Templar. Storm does land. Massive storm of the army. Oh my god. The Bio Army deep in the red. And I believe we do have another storm. Cure, he notices. He spreads. He does pre-split. Hoping to avoid their storms. Nice control out of herO. Oh my god. Storm lands. Again, there's at least 2 storms left. Still very tense. As we get tense here, a big shout out to Refuse to Learn in the chat. God, my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great, I'm assuming, ladder session, and I'm assuming that some learning was had, hopefully. But regardless, hope you had a great time, and thank you so much for the raid. Welcome to the replay cast of PiGosaur Cup. PiGosaur Cup number 65. This is the semi-finals. We're mid-series here. We're in game number 2, and it's been a very intense back and forth so far. Very close, very clutch. Cure, he had a very late third base. He was very committed on 2 bases early on. He failed to break the third base of herO. Did kill a bunch of workers, though. Did kill workers. And what I will say is that Cure, now he's stabilized, getting his own third up and running. And herO, where is the 4th expansion? It's late. It's very late 4th base here. So Cure is now taking an economic lead. Ooh, as he bleeds out a ghost. He'll lose 1, he'll lose 2. Never mind. Nice control there by Cure, saving that second ghost. That was a little bit wasteful from herO, and herO, he's in trouble. Again, here he's down in supply, down in economy. Late 4th base. What does herO have? Storm, right? He does have a bunch of storms. And if the storms land, herO can hold. But it's heavily reliant on those storms. Enjoy this. Gracias, baby, gracias. We appreciate it. Scurry pulls back. Building up his 4th CC. Building up his Vikings. I will say that here he is. Oh my god. As we attempt to come in. We attempt to storm. Here is deflected. What I was going to say is that here he's refining his composition here, building up Colossus. We have Extendable Lance on the way, second robot making 2 Colossus at a time. Here he is refining his army, that is true, but Cure still has momentum, still has a death ball to work with. So here is setting up a run by, setting up a counterattack. Does signs of SCVs, not bad. Just 2. 2, 3, 4 SCV kills. Distracting Cure. Five SCVs in total. Again, just distracting, slowing him down. Meanwhile, here is now working towards his disruptors. Colossus have built up. I believe he has 2. Yeah, sorry, 3. So 3 Colossus. Massive amount of Immortals. Disruptors. Storm. 8 High Templar in total. That's a lot of storms, but they're also clumping up. Oh no! Nice feedback. Nice feedback. But again, he's so vulnerable to an EMP. EMP grazing 2 High Templar. Oh my god, massive EMP on the High Templar. Ay, ay, ay. herO, we're clumping up too much. No storms. There was only one High Templar in the Warp Prism. Yeah, only one. Vikings move in, they shut down the Prism. Prism goes down, 0 storms. We got 1 storm coming in. Nova goes off, doesn't connect. Storm lands. Very nice storm, but there was only one. Only one. And here he plummets in supply. Again, he had 8 High Templar and he landed 1 storm. Ay, ay, ay. And with that, we have a series. We have a back and forth. He overwhelms the army. He will give chase. Does respect the High Templar. And he can send it back. He can send it. Oof. And nice times. Once again, Novas are not connecting. Nice target firing there out of Cure. Very nice target firing. That's to respect those Zealots. They didn't have any EMPs left over. Vikings, they can land. herO making his final stand, trading as best he can, but herO, he's running out of steam, running out of army. The Zealots, the Archons, and the Stalkers. We got 3 Stalkers left. Let's go. That's all he has. Scans at a time, spots the Robos. Will depower. Oof. Robos will go down, no more disruptors. Curious a little bit over sims, but it's fine. Yeah, it should be fine here. I say that the Zealots, they do clean up most of these Marauders. They're just so low on HP. Oh my god. Okay. hero's holding on. Here he barely holds on. Now, what's a little bit scary about what just happened is that herO, his economy is okay. He's got 75 workers. Now he's getting a 5th Nexus as well. If given time, herO can stabilize. Now, of course, he did just lose his Robos. True, so he can't make Disruptors. He can't make Colossus. So his army is quite limited. His production is stifled. So is his tech. Yeah, herO is still at death's door. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while to recover. As herO has to rebuild those Robos. On the one hand, it's very impressive that herO survived, and it's impressive that herO was able to force all these fights out of range of his mineral lines, so he didn't lose any workers while defending. That is true. But herO still lost his production and still lost his tech. So herO, he needs Q to be passive. He needs him to be defensive. Nice EMP. Nice EMP on the Zealots. You see Cure making 3 Liberators at a time, getting a 3rd Starport as well. Cure, he's perfecting his army, throwing down sensor towers, and even though Cure isn't pushing, Cure, he'll be the first to max out. Like, he's about to max out, and then he can start to push. Cure is still very comfortable. He's still comfortable, he's still ahead. He still has a lead. Now, how can herO recover? There's a chance here if he can, for example, get a War Prism into the main base, or pull off a Zealot round by as Cure is pushing, and force him back home and distract him. Like, there are some kind of like guerrilla tactics you can go for. But that's what herO needs to do. Like, he can't just sit back and go for one big head-on fight, because Cure will dominate. Oh boy, here he comes. Cure is building up to 8 Liberators. It's gonna be a lot of freedom. Here he comes. Here comes the main push. I don't believe herO can stop this. No. Ghost lead the charge. Feedbacks on a couple of ghosts. Storms are coming in. And the High Templar, no, they rally into the Liberators. Oh my god. That's what 4 High Templar going down. We have more Templar, more Storms. Storms are kind of landing. EMP does connect though. Yeah, brutal EMP. There's a recall. Oh my god, mass storm! He recalls the storms over. The base still goes down. And Cure's done it. Cure, he has done it. He got that recall so he could avoid this wall of Liberators. And again, it was impressive, it was flashy. But it's not good enough. As here is double expanding, taking these southern bases, taking more expansions. Nice storm. Nice Archon shot. He just needed one more volley. Okay. Jesus. Oh my god, how many storms does Hero have? The storms are crazy. Hero, calm down, Pappy, calm down. Gear spawning more expansions. Does rotate towards his outside. As Young Curie does set up. Knocks down the expansion. Again, Hero's like, I didn't hear no bell. Like, he's been fighting his heart out. It's been crazy. It's been impressive. It's, for example, if he can land a Nova, for example, then sure. He can maybe win a fight. You can see Hero coming in from behind. He has 6 High Templar. I set up the Liberation Zones. 1 Liberator goes down. He gets 1. He gets 2. Takes on 2 Liberators. Ooh, we'll lose the Colossus and the Disruptor. Gets another lib. Here come the storms. Storm mainly on Metavax. Yeah, mainly on Metavax. EMP doesn't quite land. And Hero, can he land that storm? No. Onomas, he has 1 more storm. He lands it. He lands the storm, and Hero will barely clean up this army. Just barely. Again, Hero, he's fighting his heart out. He's still terribly dead. Like, he's still horribly dead and has been for like 10 minutes. But he refuses to tap out. It's like, work for it, Pappy. Oh my god. As Curie's on 83 SCVs, he's making his next wave of army. Again, Hero, he pulled off that fight down like 50 supply, by the way. Like, that was insane. I think it was down 60 supply at the time. And again, it's impressive. It's just Hero's been punching up for the past 10 minutes. It's been rough. There we go. Cure does knock down the expansion. Stims in. At the same time, Hero going for the counter attack. Oh, running into a planetary. Now this time there are only 2 High Templar. Previously I did. GG. GG gets called, and Cure ties up the series 1-1. GG. Hey, GG, well played. A very impressive game here out of Hero of all players. Like, again, Hero was dead for a solid 10 minutes that game. Like, Cure, he was up in bases, up in economy, he was up in army, he was crippling the production, crippling the tech, but Hero refused to die. He was able to take some fights and take some engagements despite being far behind in the army supply and in the economy. It was impressive. It was impressive. A lot of tenacity there out of Hero, but despite that, like, it was still too much to overcome. It was impressive. It was great to see, but at no point was Cure in any real danger. Like, any danger of dying, I should say, or any danger of losing that game, as Cure had too much of a lead early on. And with that, GG, well played. We're getting into game number 3. Let's go. Let us go. We'll see who can take a lead in the series, who can gain momentum, as game 3 is going to be on Title Citadel. Here we go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Title Citadel, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing T1. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Here we go. High up high on Skooma. Oh god. Is this live? if you're curious, this is a live broadcast. That is true, but this is a replay cast. It should be in the title. It should be in the title of both the YouTube and the Twitch stream. I know that if you're on mobile, then I believe the title gets cut off. You can check the title. If we ever do have a replay cast, it is stated so in said title of the stream. But here we go. Here we go. As we are going to be opening up. Again, last game, herO just had a really shaky early to mid game. We saw that he had such a late third base, late fourth base as well. So because of that, he just couldn't really sustain himself as the game did progress. herO, he was able to stabilize, getting his own third base up and running, if you recall. And snowball out of control. Likewise, we had some messy engagements out of herO early on that allowed for that deficit to occur. But here we go, we're settling into game 3, and we'll see who can take a lead in the series. Welcome to Title Citadel. This is a map that is often vetoed. Very, very often vetoed here, just because a couple of different reasons. One, we have the goal base. Goal base is going to be a factor in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. This typically does favor whoever has map control, and that is usually the Protoss player in PvT. So often Terran players just avoid this map. Not just that, but the bases are very spread out. They're very spread out, so they're very isolated from each other. It can be very difficult to rotate defensively and to keep up with army movement to defend your third, your fourth, your fifth base. It can be very, very difficult to keep up. So we often do see some messy defenses here on Title Citadel. But we'll see. In game 1, herO did open charge. Game 2, open blink. Game 3, what's it going to be? Show us what you got. Read the whole title from Landscape on mobile. Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Me full screen. True, true. But yeah, just as a reminder to check if you ever have said question. But it's all good. So now we do have a Twilight Council open at herO. Does open Twilight Council once again. As we mentioned before, we have seen herO vary things up when it comes to charge or blink. Meanwhile, I believe for the first time this series, and okay, getting our CC up and running. We have our 1-1-1 follow-up. Once again, we have reacted marine production out of herO, building up that marine count very early on, skipping that early cyclone. If you recall, we saw this against Creator earlier today. I believe that should just be one Hellion to scouts. Just the one. I mean, I say we saw this against Creator, we saw this against herO as well. As hero's been very fond of this. As here comes the follow-up cyclone, the medevac, and here comes the early push. So herO, he's going to commit. Bearing in mind, this is going to be moved out without stim. Ideally, this will knock down the third base. We can see that herO is going for a safer build. We have a third gateway and a robo before an expansion. Hellion does confirm there is no third base. And herO backs off. So again, just like game 1 against Creator, where herO, he committed into this build, and once he realized that Creator wasn't being greedy, or here, herO isn't being greedy, herO isn't being economic, herO backs off. He pulls away, and he can now just go for drop play. And here comes the medevac. Again, if herO had gone for an earlier base, then herO would have committed. Would have committed across. Blink is now done. herO can now expand. And we'll see if he can keep up. Alright, picking up a probe, delaying the base, not bad. Third base is delayed. Medevac's on the way. Here, he should soon confirm the missing army, or that units are lacking. As the observer moves in. Spots production. Ooh, has to respect the Raven. He's hunting for the Observer. He's hunting for him, Bappy. And this time herO isn't being active. If you recall, last game, one of the reasons why herO took a lead was this very same drop, where herO moved out, and when herO blinked into the main base with his Winged Stalkers, that's what triggered herO to go into the main of herO. And he was able to wreak havoc. What was it 15 probe kills in total last game? But this time herO doesn't move out. He stays home, and we're being a lot more defensive. Meanwhile, we do mix things up a little bit here, going into Storm. So Storm is on the way, Charge on the way as well. I say that, I mean, we saw the same thing last game. Earlier Storm, delayed Colossus. Oh no! The Observer gets caught out. Does get caught. Checking hero's vision, he did see the third command center. Big scout for herO. He now knows he's safe. He knows there's no 2-base all in. And herO can start thinking about a 4th expansion. And there it is. There's that 4th base. So unlike last game, this 4th base is really well timed. It's very well timed. herO so far looking solid. herO going for the Storm drop. That also means that I'll defensive back at home. Uh-oh. Here we go. Storms are coming in. He will get some SCVs, but what about that home defense? Yeah, his SCVs will go down. Getting 5 in total. Landing one more. The High Templar just killed the SCVs. Oh my god. They just auto-attack the SCVs to death. I mean, there's a final Storm. 17 kills. But what about the defense back at home? herO doesn't have enough. Okay, he has 2 Storms. He has 2 High Templar. He has 2 Storms. He's out of position. The 4th base is under fire. Big cancellation. 4th base is denied. But herO needs more than that. herO, he lost 19 SCVs. He's going to keep going. He's going to keep moving in. Massive Storm in the Bio Army. Second Storm, a little bit lackluster. Tanks they shell away at the gateways. At the same time, dropping to the main is going to be cleaned up. herO defends. He defends the main. We still need more Zealots though. As herO, he has to get on top of those tanks. Hasn't lost too much. Storm is coming in. Ooh. Prism goes down. herO still cannot engage. Still needs another warp in. Oh, herO, he commits. Yeah, commits into the army. He will get at least 1 tank, but he will lose every single Stalker. herO, he was premature. Yeah, he moved in too soon. He's got an Immortal. He had extra Zealots. He needed everything to come together. And has herO done it. Now, bearing in mind, herO is all in. He has 45 SCVs against the 72 of herO. herO, he has another expansion on the way. This has to win the game. herO's close. Again, herO did misjudge. Collapses in. Trying to rush forward. Storm grazes the army. We have one more Storm. Oh my god. And once again, no major connection. Tank barely goes down. Yeah, tank goes down and herO holds. Whew. Hi. Here he holds on, Bab. He holds on. As the dust settles, where exactly are we? herO, he's again heavily oversaturated, just now taking his 4th. herO, can he deny the 4th base again? He scans. He scans, he sees the expansion. herO, he has to react, he has to respond. He needs more Zealots, he needs more army. herO needs more time. Shows EMPs. Oh my god, massive EMPs. They have no Storms left. And herO's done it. Yeah, herO, he has done it. He has broken the main army here. The Archons, the Immortals. There's no more splash damage. Just kiting back. herO will break the expansion. Storm does land. Jesus. Storm lands, gets a lot of value, but the base goes down, and Curie can just snowball out of control. Just keep on pushing, take down the 4th base, now move in towards the 3rd. There's what, 1 High Templar. Going for the feedback. And Cure, he'll take a lead. He'll take a lead in the series. GG gets called. Cure, he will take game number 3 up 2-1. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, herO a little bit greedy in his overall build, winding it back. herO, he was getting his 4th base, Cure was getting his 3rd, and what did herO do? He went for a triple High Templar drop. He went for a storm drop across the map, and he did kill a lot of SCVs. Remember, he killed 17 SCVs. It's good damage, but that also means you have that many less storms defensively back at home. That was that was like what, 5 or 6 storms. It was crazy how many storms herO had across the map. And that also meant that his base defense was that much weaker. His 4th base went down. Despite that, it did seem like herO had the tools to defend. We mentioned a couple of times, there were a couple of moments where herO, he moved in as he was warping in. So he moved in with like a portion of his army. So he overextended. He was premature. He moved in too soon and took a really rough fight as a result. So there were a couple of moments like that where herO misjudged the strength of his army. That is true, and potentially herO could have defended there, but again, like he was in a rough position because of that initial storm drop. It meant that he was that much weaker defensively. GG, well played. That's the risk you take when you go for a storm drop. True, the risk you take. As that leads us into game number 4, leads us into the Old Republic. Let's go. Here we go. Why do you think heroes are putting cannons in mineral lines? I would say there wasn't any need for cannons in mineral lines. That's typically a waste of resources, as you can usually defend your bases and defend your mineral lines without cannons. I could be mistaken, but I don't think in that game there was ever a moment where cannons would have benefited him. Bearing in mind that cannons don't, what cannons do is that they don't deal with the drop. They buy time to warp in, and they buy time for the Protoss player to react with their army to be able to defend against the drop. Like cannons never kill a drop. They just deter or just buy time, like a bit of a buffer. But I don't think there was a moment in that game where that was ever needed. But here we go. Here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of the Old Republic. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. Down in the series, we'll see if he mounts back. It is herO for T1. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran player. The red Terran player himself, the South Korean Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Here we go. Sure, he would expect drops in response to moving out, but as I mentioned, at no point that game was there a drop that got out of hand that dealt critical damage that herO was punished for not having a cannon, right? Like in that game, there was never a moment where a cannon would have benefited herO. As I mentioned, like cannons, all they do is they buy time, so then you can warp in units to like minimize losses. As nice eBay block. Going for the second eBay. So usually cannons are a waste of resources, and they typically hurt you more than help you. There are some niche situations where cannons can help, specifically in the late game. So in the mid to late game, cannons are useful just because you have excess resources, right? Because you have an excess of resources, you can afford to just throw down like a wall of cannons and shield batteries to deny drop play and deter that kind of style. But you can get away with it, and you can justify it because you have an excess of and a surplus of money, right? Specifically in the late game and in the mid to late game. But in the early to mid game, because your resources are a lot more limited, and because your resources matter that much more with how you allocate them, that's where you can't really justify, you know, throwing down like cannons and shield batteries without reason to. So that's why you see stat defense a little more commonly in a longer later game, right? TLDR cannons don't move. Well, I mean, I guess the TLDR is that every cannon is one less zealot, for example. And one that sell it means that's going to be a weaker defense at an expansion like a 4th base where you don't have cannons, right? Where you're not reliant on site defense. So it means that for every cannon that you make that early on, it means that your main army is weaker as a result of that. As your main army is smaller, right? But again, that matters less as you get into a longer game. And especially early on, like every unit counts. Like every unit's crucial. For sure. But here we go. Here we go. For timing, we are going to be opening up. Kira did go for his high ground CC, did go for the eBay block and did disrupt some of the mining, did disrupt the timing of the natural at least. As we follow up with a mine drop. Okay. So mine drop follow up. Depp does get a full scout and I believe is aware of the drop itself. The medevac may have just been able to barely avoid the adept. Makes his way across the map. Sticking to the main. herO did go for a 3-gate blink opener. He went for a relatively safe start into a later expansion, and he should react in time. Maybe pulls away. Takes out 1 mine shot. Ooh, zoning away the medevac. And oh, no blink. Yeah, there is no blink available, so 1 stalker goes down. So far, pretty successful mine drop here from Cure. He won't escape with the winter mines, but does get a stalker and 2 probes. Meanwhile, the 3rd base is delayed. Cure now expands. I will see if Cure can get away with a medevac at any point. If so, that will be a bonus. We'll see. Medevac does boost away. At the same time, here he commits across the map. Bearing in mind, remember, he went 3-gate blink, so he has an excess of stalkers. Prism moves out as well, and here can start to apply pressure to Cure. Let's go. The natural base is quite secure. We have a bunker, we have a tank. The main base likewise has a tank as well. There is an opening into the main. Oh, he's crazy. He's blinking in. Gets a tank. The tank goes down. Does avoid the bunker. Again, bold move here by herO. He does get behind the mineral line. A lot of SCVs is going to be going down, and so far this is worth it as long as he can get away. And he barely does. Bleeding out a lot of stalkers though. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, that was what, 6 stalkers going down. Expensive trades here for herO. Dives on the tank. Doesn't get it. Yeah, herO, calm down. I was like, oh, maybe there's like an opening into the main base to like blink in, skirt around the edge and get behind the mineral line and get some SCVs, or maybe deny blink. But he just sent it into the natural. He's lost his mind. And it wasn't worth it. It was not worth it. With that here, he gets 1 more SCV. Gonna be zoned back. And again, some brutal losses for herO. Typically, when it comes to this kind of blink stalker heavy opener, you do want to retain your stalkers throughout the course of the game. They're quite expensive. But herO has been wasteful. He's looking at the tank. He will dive. He will get it. Okay. Tank goes down. Going for the add-ons. And you can see the main base is so much more accessible here to herO. Finds a lot more damage, delaying the push, delaying the timing. Okay. Oh, good. As herO bleeds out 2 stalkers. Yeah, a bit of miscontrol out of herO. 2 more stalkers go down. That is concerning. It's been some messy aggression here from herO. It's been very, very messy. Diving in the bunker. Again, so far, nice control. So here it does rotate. Does back off, does rotate, bleeds out another Stalker. Kira setting up to expand. And herO cannot blink in, by the way. Remember, the stim is done. No. Gets a Medivac. And Medivac goes down, there's stim. In the end, we do see Kira race back. I feel like you could have just committed to the fight there. Like, I feel like we missed out on some DPS. Interesting. As he's moving out this drop. The Kira's army still does stand strong. And here is still desperate for damage. Back at home, I mean, the bases are quite barren. Job is moving into the main. Here he just warped in. And he does leave 2 Stalkers at home to defend. He's got his 2 Stalkers in position at the same time, dropping into the main. But there is no defensive warp in. Forced to recall. Yeah, big recall here. 8 probes go down. Oh. At the same time, though, we're getting some counter damage. Okay. Only 3 SCVs, and Kira can expand. Yeah, Kira can take his 3rd base. Takes a further lead. It does take a lead, and here he is struggling. Now, there are ways to recover here. Unlike the previous games, there's no storm. We're just now building up into Colossus. The biggest thing that is hurting herO here is that he's just been very wasteful with his army. Very wasteful. Marines, they start to step in. They catch up 4 probes. Calm down with the rally. Calm down, herO. Calm down. And now he's setting up. Again, I would say the side defense is necessary here because herO has a supply deficit. Because he's been bleeding out and trading so many Stalkers throughout the course of this game. herO's army is lacking. And Kira's looking comfortable. It's looking good. Premier we're chilling. Student working on a 4th CC. And the game is going to slow down. Now, on the one hand, herO, he does have, or he doesn't currently, but he should be able to gain a greater economy. Taking another expansion, taking more gases, gaining map control, that is true. Unfortunately, again, because of the rough trades that herO's been having, he doesn't really have that economic advantage that he otherwise would want here at this stage of the game. Kira should be the first to max. Kira's pushing. How many Vikings does Kira have? Only 4? Only 4 Vikings. There's 3 Colossus to defend. Nice CMP. Yeah, nice CMP, but I'm not convinced that Kira should be here. Oh, nice snipe. Okay. Nice snipe of the Prism. Kira backs off. Again, Kira, he cannot break this position, or with a low Viking count. Pulls away. Likewise, it's a lot of Zealots. Kira, we just gotta calm down, Pat. Calm down. Harass into the bases. Zealots are set up for a massive run by, a massive counterattack. This does look like a big Hail Mary play for herO, where he's distracting with the bare minimum. Again, this army is so fragile right now. There's no support for the Colossus, but the goal is to distract, right? To distract, to lure the army out. And then to go in. Let's go. Here is distracting. Keeping the attention. Zealot move in. They're on A move though. Yeah, Zealots are on A move. Zealots are deflected, and Kira he defends. Kira he defends is claiming a 4th base. Big moment here for the Terran. The 4th base is getting up and running. herO is still in trouble. As we mentioned, Kira is the first to max out. Now, Kira's army isn't perfect. We're still kind of building ourselves up. We should be working soon on a fusion core into Liberator range, into a higher starport count, into more Liberators. That should be the end goal for Cure. And because of the high amount of Zealots, it would be ill-advised to move out on the map, right? Zealots, they thrive out in the open. They struggle pushing into SimCity. So it doesn't feel good, but the correct thing to do here is to stay at home, despite being maxed and despite being the first to max. So Curie is doing the correct thing. We're just turtling up. It doesn't feel good to be maxed and to be stuck at home, but like that is a consensus here, at least until you perfect your army. Ooh, herO going for the double drop. Now, the purpose of this is there should be a ring of turrets. There isn't, but there should be a ring of turrets here, and there's a very high chance that one prism will be killed, but the other prism will make it through. So this is a way to ensure that you get into the main base, you get a massive warp into the main. I would say that herO is a little bit premature here, though, because herO is maxed. He has no free supply. There is an opening. There's no turrets in the main base. Zealot bust in. They bust into the main. herO pushing forward, going for the planetary. Cure out of position. Yeah, Cure's out of position. He will go on top of the Colossus. Nice EMP. Cure, he wins the main fight, but as herO bleeds out supply, it should be warping in. It should be warping in. Takes on both Colossus. Here come the warp-ins into the main. And hero's hoping that Cure turns around. Ah, he's not turning around. Cure's not turning around, Pappy. Hero's like, pay attention to the Zealot drop. Nah, there's plenty at home. Yeah, there's plenty of reinforcements back at home. Cure, he defends. He moves out across the map. And herO, he plummets in supply. He has nothing left. Again, the hope was for Cure to respect this prism drop, but it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough across the map. It wasn't threatening. Cure, he commits, bleeds out a lot of Vikings. That's what, 3 Vikings going down. There's now 3 Colossus. Can herO hold on? Oh, Hatcho's Island goes down, depowers all the robos. And Cure is done. He snowballs out of control. He does rush forward, taking down Colossus after Colossus. Nothing left to defend. There's 1 Colossus remaining. Oh god! Down to 0. Yeah, down to 0. Prisms go down as well. Get a strong fight for Cure. Now, what does herO have? Expansions. He's got empty bases all over the place. We got next side. We got bases. Technically, herO does have a slightly better economy here. True, does have the better economy. And Cure just has to calm down. He's scanning, looking for bases, and eventually has to work through them. Has to work through those expansions. Nice catch by herO. Gets a medevac. Does get a medevac. hero's reprobing. Doing what he can to buy time. But Cure still has the advantage. On the one hand, yes, I would say that Cure doesn't really have enough to commit to a push across the map. He just doesn't have the supply for that. He is stuck at home. But at the same time, Cure is still looking much more healthier. Looking much more healthy. Oh. ICB. And ICB's on the Zealots. Cleans up. Will knock down bottom right. Will force on the recall. Does force the recall. There is another EMP. And Cure, he might as well take this, by the way. despite the recall, he cleans up all the Zealots. Stalkers are exposed, and Cure, he will still take the fight. Oh, we have more Zealot reinforcements. Okay, okay. Cure is holding. Cure, he's holding on. Here come the Colossi. Cure, he has to get out of here. Yeah, we're getting messy. At the same time, recall's on cooldown. This base will go down. Cure still gets an expansion. As well as seeing Cure just dives in, catching another Colossus. Doesn't quite have enough to keep going though. Has to be careful. Cure still amassing back at home. He's now built up to a superior economy. True. Curie's gotten there. He has gotten there. Likewise, Curie's built up to 7 Vikings. A decent Viking count against 2 Colossus. It's decent. And once again, this army is vulnerable to EMPs. Massive EMPs on the Gateway Army. EMPs a papa. Catching another Colossus. There's 1 Colossus left. And again, Cure, he's in no real danger here. Like, he can aim if that. He can stim and he can win. At the same time, drops into the main. Depowers the production. And with that, the final base goes down. GG gets called, and Cure, he will claim the series 3-1, taking down herO and advancing on to the grand finals. Whew, GG. Ay, ay, ay. GG, well played. Again, a very messy game here by herO. The earlier matches were a little more closer, a little more back and forth, a little more intense. But here, if you recall, herO, he was overly aggressive with his Stalkers. I mean, he did sustain some losses early on, if you recall, to the Widowmine drop, so that did prompt the counterattack. And herO, he lost so many Stalkers, blinking into the natural, blinking into the main base. It was just not worth it. And herO did fall behind. He was just bleeding out far, far too much. It was not a worthwhile trade. And that did allow for Cure to build up, to claim his 3rd base, to macro up out of that as well, to gain an economic lead. The 4th base for herO was much more delayed. We emphasized that even though herO had more bases, it was actually even if not behind in workers as well, and Cure had a very comfortable mid game. Very, very comfortable. Now, in the end, that did lead into both players maxing out, but one army wasn't quite like the other. As we emphasized at the time, the goal for herO, because he knew he was behind, was to hopefully force Cure to go back into his main, right? To hit the main base, to hit the forward base with his army, to distract, get the warp into the main base, force Cure back home, and then back off and rebuild and keep that kind of dynamic going. But Cure just dominated the fight, just kept pushing. And he dominated back at home as well. Like, his reinforcements did clean up all those zealots, he shut down the double prism, and Cure just snowballed out of control. Just snowballed out of control from there. GG, well played. With that, Cure does claim the series, and we have our grand finals ready for us here. Cure, he will advance on to face off against MaxPax in those grand finals. Let's go. Let's go. But again, I would say at times herO being overly aggressive in that final game. Just overly aggressive, very, very messy play in the mid game. Did give Cure a lot of opportunities, a lot of advantages. A lot of advantages. And here we go. We have our grand finals here. It's going to be a best of 5 between MaxPax and Cure. Let's go. Game 1 is going to be on Winter Madness. The TVPs, they continue, papi. They continue. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Psystorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Cure going through the TVP Gauntlet tonight, going through Creator, going through herO, and now up against MaxPax, the non-stop sea of Protoss. And Cure has done well for himself, has made it this far, but now he's up against another top tier Protoss player. Oh boy, not going to be easy here, especially because MaxPax is a very different kind of Protoss player as well. We did mention at the start of the previous series how herO is often very aggressive, very unpredictable, and very active, especially the early to mid game. I mean, we saw that in that last series, to success and to failure as well. Like, we saw the two extremes of herO being overly aggressive in that previous series. Here, MaxPax typically is a lot more mid to late game oriented. He's a lot more standard in his approach. Cure comes in with the eBay block, and ooh, MaxPax will not spot this. MaxPax will not see, and MaxPax may be forced to take the unnatural natural. So a rough start here for MaxPax. The eBay block is successful for Cure. if you remember, he did attempt this against herO, and herO shut this down. herO scouted. Now Kira's on patrol at the triangular third location. MaxPax, he's forced to expand elsewhere, and he's forced to expand on the low ground. Again, the worst option here for MaxPax, but it's the only option. He cannot expand at the natural, and he cannot expand at the triangular third. So again, Kira's forcing MaxPax into an uncomfortable position, and from here he can go for the faster factory. Yep, factory before CC. Oof. So from here, we typically go into reactor to Hellion, and then Hellions, they can pick and choose and rotate between the natural and the main, and it's that much more difficult for the Protoss to react and to respond. Not impossible, just difficult. So everything so far is lining up for Cure. She's heading up for the add-on swap. You can see MaxPax is forced to invest into an early shield battery here early on. The reasoning for this is because the bases are so spread out, trying to react and respond and rotate defensively between these bases is very difficult. So you have to rely on that side defense to buy time for your rotations. Meanwhile, Twilight Council's on the way, getting into Blink. MaxPax does move out early, and MaxPax will delay the CC. Forcing down the second worker. Okay, does force down the second. SCV is kept safe and sound. I do like this approach out of MaxPax. Basically, the best defense is a good offense. Instead of being stuck defending the mineral lines, he just moves out. He just moves out, hoping that the Hellions stay home. They don't. Hellions do not stay home. Two of them do at least. Now, two Hellions, they two-shot. They two-shot probes. They slip into the main. Yeah, they slip into the main base. There's no shield battery. Probes are lining up. And how many do we get? So far, two. Two probes going down. Getting up to three. Yeah, 3 probe kills. We have more Hellions here knocking down that natural. And this is getting a little bit out of hand here. 5 probe kills. Can we get another volley off? Oh my god, 8! 8 probes, they line up 9 probes going down. Ay. 2 Hellions are still alive, by the way. Yeah, they're still alive. And again, you can see just how awkward it is to defend both locations. MaxPax does struggle. And Cure kicks things off with a lead. So 9 probe kills early on. Behind this, getting his natural up and running. Likewise, building up his own 3-1-1 setup. Delayed starport. This looks like a 2-base all-in. Yeah, this does scream 2-base all-in. Basically, what's happening here is that Cure, he's delaying his starport in favor of a 2nd and 3rd racks. This means early stim, it means early tank production, it means delayed medevacs, and a big prioritization of just a bio army. Just a biotank army. Cure, he may pull the boys with this. He may pull the boys once he gets up to 2 tanks. But it makes sense to go for an all-in because he knows that MaxPax is crippled. So it's a bit of a 1-2 punch. Cyclone does pull away. Ooh, shuts out one of the Stalkers. Stalker does go down. Again, Cure's building up, checking MaxPax's vision. He doesn't scout the main. He's not aware. He's not aware of what's going on, but I mean, he can intuitively assume that Cure is going to go for it all in. Like, it just makes sense, even without scouting. Hellions, they slip by. Hellions, they slip by once again. Can we get some more probe kills? One of the Hellions is low, and the Hellion is going to get 1 volley up before going down. And then it's going to be 1. It's going to be 2 kills. Nothing major, but every little bit counts. Every little bit does count. Even here, just buying time, bullying back those Stalkers. Every second counts. MaxPax is trying to counterattack. As I mentioned before, the best defense is a good offense. And MaxPax, he wants to keep Cure busy back at home. Also, if he can somehow deny Stim, I mean, that would be huge. But the pressure's on. Oof. Gets 1 SCV. Takes down 1 SCV. Breaks the lock on. Tank is moving in, so far getting 2-3 SCV kills. And MaxPax has to get the hell out of here. He has to pull away. Stim is finishing. Went behind Dark Shrine. I do like this Dark Shrine. It does make a lot of sense. So basically, because there's a very high chance there's a 2-base all in, scans are going to be very limited, right? Like you can see here that CranKy's mulling his heart out as much as he can. Does scan for the Observer, but there is a chance here that he won't have a scan ready for the Dark Templar. They could defend, they could attack. Nice snipe on the tank. Tank goes down. Nice control, nice juggling here by MaxPax. Oh, he has to respect the sim. Lock it on the War Prism. Has to back off. Here, MaxPax, he pulls away. Here's still building up. Dark Shrine is almost done. I believe Cure plans on hitting before there are Colossus. With a Bay on the way, Colossus in production soon. We'll see. There's the add-on sold for Medivacs. Ah, no 2-base all in. Third TC. Okay. So he's waiting for the Medivacs. Cure, he's not pushing on 2 bases. He can, he can push, but he's not committed. Oh no! DC's revealed. Dark Templar revealed, and there's about to be 1 scan. Yeah, scans are natural. No scan in the main. Getting 2 SCV kills. Again, nice damage here. Can we even delaying the third? It delays the 3rd base, and we spoke about this again just because it was so 2-base heavy. Even gets a tank. Oh my god. DTs are popping up. The Templar. Yeah, there's no turret in the main. Jesus. This is becoming too much. This is getting out of hand. Straight up. It's getting out of hand here. 5 SCVs, delay on the 3rd base. Killing a tank, killing add-ons. The power of the Invisible Man. They're pretty good. And MaxPax, he stabilized. MaxPax, it was a very rough start for MaxPax. It was very, very shaky. But the stim timing has come and gone. Like, again, Cure's stuck. He's stuck at home. The power of the Invisible Man. Aye, aye, aye. And MaxPax will claim a 4th base. Wow, getting his 4th base up running before the 3rd is even done. Now floating over. So MaxPax looking very comfortable here. And if given time, MaxPax will take a lead. He'll take a lead. Cure is in trouble. Now, at least currently, Cure still has a pretty terrifying army to work with. That is true. But only currently. Like, that window is closing. That window is closing. MaxPax ready for a Zealot drop into the natural. Just waiting for a Cure to move out. Then MaxPax can backstab. Zealot said distract to the left. Confirming the positioning of the army. Building up to 3 Colossus. And Cure, he's in danger. Like, MaxPax, he might just commit in. And remember, this is really just a distraction for the drop, for the War Prism. He could even just take a fight. MaxPax distracting, getting a 5th expansion. Armor shred goes up. Decent connection. Prism comes in. Dropping into the mineral line. He drops in. Nice Colossus swipes. Oh my god, so many Marines go down. And MaxPax, he's doing it. He can just zone away the army. He can just zone away. He can push into the natural. Tank is too far back. Free damage in between the bases. 11 SCV kills. And he's just going in. Yeah, he's going further in here. Has to be covered to be surrounded. Okay, 1 Colossus goes down. Ooh, MaxPax overextends. He'll lose 1, he'll lose 2 Colossus. Yeah, big overextension there from MaxPax. But still a better trade. Still 20 SCV kills. 23. Oh my god. 23 SCVs going down. And MaxPax, remember, he has a 5th base. He's getting a 5th base up and running. He can afford these trades. It was a little bit messy. I would say that the Colossus moved in too soon. If you remember, there was Zealot reinforcements on the way. He had to wait for that buffer. So MaxPax got a little bit too excited there and did lose 2 Colossus. But outside of that, I mean, it was still a better trade. Right? It was still a better trade for the Protoss. And he can keep trading. He can just keep going. Second Robo, double Colossal production, and meanwhile Cure, he's going to Mass Liberator. That is a way to slow the game down. You can see he's just setting up his freedom zones. He's trying to slow the game down and build up. Prism goes back in. Catching up 5 SCVs. Doesn't lose a single Zealot. And the problem here is that Cure, he just lost too much. It's going to take too long for him to stabilize. MaxPax is about to max out. He's about to max out. He's at 180 supply. And even though it's inefficient to push into all these liberation zones, he'll have enough to just brute force it. Just brute force the issue. And just commit in. There's some distracting. MaxPax looking for an opening. Warping in more Stalkers. He does need that anti-air. Okay, that's a lot of liberation. He's going for it. As he mentioned, he's just going to try to brute force. Takes out 1, 2, 3 Liberators. Getting up to 4, 5, getting up to all 6. Yeah, he barely does get all 6. GG gets called. MaxPax, he overwhelms, and MaxPax takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. An impressive comeback here at MaxPax. MaxPax had the worst start possible. It was brutal to be forced to expand on the low ground, to lose 9 probes early on. It was a very shaky start for MaxPax, but he was able to dip into the main base. Even then, his Stalker aggression wasn't really too amazing, but the Dark Templar, the DTs, they killed so many workers. They killed a tank, they killed production, they forced out multiple scans, they forced out multiple turrets, and more importantly, they contained Cure on 2 bases. Remember, Cure, he was building up towards a stim timing. He was building up towards that stim timing, towards that move out, and he missed it. He missed it completely due to the Dark Templar. So again, just really smart play there from MaxPax to go for the Dark Shrine. Dark Shrines are very effective, especially against 2 basing Terran players, just because scans are very, very limited, as you saw. Very limited scans. GG. GG, well played with that. MaxPax does take a lead in the series. Reminds me of, I mean, we just covered Home Story Cup, and if you miss out on those games, you saw something very similar occur, even more extreme actually, between Showtime and Clem with Dark Templar. It happens, but GG, well played. With that leads us into game 2, and we'll see if MaxPax can extend that lead. We'll see if Cure can recover. Let's go. Let us go. Spawning in the bottom left hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss representing Sandstorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. Leading the series 1-0. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Un momento. So it's just getting very hot. Summer here in Australia. Summer, baby, summer. Whew, but here we go. Here we go. We are settling into game number 2, and this time there is no eBay block. This time there's no block here at the natural. MaxPax can freely expand where he so pleases. Can freely expand. Likewise, Cure going for a single gas. Single gas opener. This time Cure is going for a faster CC. Remember last game, because of the eBay block, Cure went racks into factory, into reactored Hellion. That's why we had so much Hellion aggression last game. This time later factory. Ooh, and the CC is even off center. Nicely done by MaxPax. Does disrupt, does force some inefficiencies out of Cure. Let's go. Whew, as we can settle in. Again, welcome to the Old Republic. The Old Republic is one of the larger maps of the map pool. We do often see a lot more mid-game play here on the Old Republic. It is relatively easy to set up your third base. Your fourth base is much more open, much more exposed, much more difficult to maintain. But we'll see how our players do approach the mid-game and what kind of tech we go for as well. Do we once again go into Blink, and how many gateways do we go for? How many gates? When you see Cure scouting for proxies, ensuring there is no pylon, there are no shenanigans. MaxPax is one to mix in proxies from time to time. Secure, just making sure he's safe. You can settle in. I guess very quickly as well, as we're kind of settling into our game. If you missed out and if you didn't check out the interview, there was an interview that the SE historian recently did with Driget, who is the ex-owner of Exxon. And the co-owner of Psystorm, where he became, you know, a bigger part of Psystorm after Psystorm did acquire Exxon. And he actually spoke briefly on on MaxPax. If you remember, MaxPax originally did join Exxon and then Psystorm thereafter. And he did have some stories. Yeah, some stories about MaxPax. As the episode we poke in, catching out one, catching out two Hellions. Not bad. Two Hellions go down. Head-up's going to be dealt with. But overall, not a bad trade. This does limit vision. It does limit scouting. Remember, Cure, no SCV scout, no Reaper scout either. The point of those Hellions was to be active on the map. Now he can't be. Instead, he has to rely on the Water Mine drop, and it's going to be a much more committed mine drop, actually. It's quite rare to see, but we're going into a quadruple mine drop. Okay. 4 Water Mines. For those who remember, this used to be a lot more common a couple of years ago before the nerf to the Widow Mine. It used to be a lot more common to go into double, triple, quadruple mine drops, even continued mine drops as well. If you remember what killed this build and why this build is rarely seen, if you recall, was there were like 3 or 4 different nerfs that hit the Widow Mine at once. The Widow Mine, the first big one was that it now alerts you when it burrows. Previously, it would alert when it targets, but instead now the Protoss player gets an alert when the burrow is activated. Likewise, it also reduced the radius of the mine shot. It also reduced the damage of the mine shot as well. So reduced damage, reduced radius, increased alerts, of course, and reaction time. And that kind of killed these Widow Mine drops. Again, that was a couple of years ago. As this used to be the standard. Like, this used to be every TVP. As Widow Mine does waddle in. Does attempt to. Yeah, mine goes down. So far, no major connections. Catching out one Stalker. Yeah, it does get the one. But only the one. Nice blinks. Nice blinks. With that, we can see Curie's one. He's trying to waddle away. Get out of here, Patty. Yeah, attempts to waddle, but alas, he cannot escape. Gets a full scout at least, but this was not worth it. Yeah, this was not worth it here. A big investment, losing the medevac and losing 4 Widow Mines. What damage did he achieve? He killed 1 probe. He killed 1 probe, but 1 Stalker. The depth state went down earlier across the map. So he killed 2 units. 2 units for 4 Widow Mines and a medevac. So better defense here by MaxPax. Cure in a rough position. A rough position. But Driget, he had some stories because he was the first team that actually salaried MaxPax, and MaxPax, of course, he was very, very young at the time. Still is relatively young. But when that happened, his parents thought it was a scam. He was like, yo, these people on the internet, they want to pay you to play video games? What? No. So they actually didn't allow MaxPax to receive payments. Instead, his parents actually gave his dad gave his PayPal to Exxon instead to receive payments and to receive salary. There was no trust. There was no trust in esports at the time. Then after a while, they're like, "Oh, you know what? This is legit. Okay. You can pay our son." Yeah, they were very protective, and it kind of alludes to what MaxPax is now as well, because his parents thought it was a scam. His parents didn't want to give any information about MaxPax to the team, like name or anything like that, just because his parents were very distrustful. Very distrustful. That's called a good pair. I mean, it's understandable, especially if they are unfamiliar with like esports, like the idea of people getting paid to compete in video games. So it's very understanding. Oh, as Cure does commit in, catching at 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice catch here out of Cure. Ay, ay, ay. Again, nice catch. Zealous had distract. They shouldn't really get much done though. Getting 5 SCVs. They say it's holding to pay Exxon. No. They just even Thricket said like it didn't make any sense that we'd be like scamming if we're paying you money. Like it didn't make much sense. But despite that, like, you know, MaxPax's parents were still just very distrustful, which again is understandable for people that aren't, you know, familiar with the scene or familiar with esports. I just didn't want MaxPax to give out any information about himself. Go. Of course, this was back in, this would have been what, like beginning of COVID, like 2019, 2020 ish. I have to double check, because Exxon was a relatively new team in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, 2020, that's it. So that would have been beginning of COVID. 2020. I say that, yo, that was 6 years ago. That's crazy to think about. No shot. 2020 was 6 years ago, papi. Ay. Where did the time go? Not like this. For now, though, we're building up. Again, we did have a bit of a back and forth here. MaxPax has gained map control, so he's getting his 4th base, he's getting his 5th base, getting fully saturated, 83 probes, and if given time, MaxPax will be the first to max out. Meanwhile, Cure, interestingly enough, is switching into a very fast, very early Mass Liberator composition. I bring this up because Mass Lib like this is usually reserved for the late game, right? Like, you don't get, you even saw in the last game, like, we were getting to Liberators as like a last-ditch effort to try to desperately defend, but this is very early in comparison. This is before Ghost. Usually you go Ghost first, then Liberator. Here it's Lib, and then, I mean, no Ghost in sight. Into very early Liberator range as well. So, interesting style here by Cure. Very, very interesting. As he's getting up to 9 Liberators. Jesus. So far as we know, the Prince of Denmark and 7.5 feet. Do you know who MaxPax is? I mean, no, but yes. As in, there's plenty of voice interviews with MaxPax out there over the years. Like, he's obviously a very private person, and that's it. I always assumed, and my assumption is still the fact that he just is a very anxious person as well about going to like offline events and going and kind of revealing like himself on like webcam and stuff like that. It's not really one to do so, which is fine. It's up to him. Yeah, as MaxPax does move in, will delay, will deny the 3rd. And Cure, again, he's playing for the late game here. Like, going into Mass Liberator like this isn't about breaking out. This is about turtling. It's about turtling up on 4. We're going to be here for a while, papi. Like, we're setting up all the freedom zones. We're expanding here on the low ground. We're setting up defensively. We're locking in, papi. We're locking in. Here we go. We have a wall of sensor towers, missile turrets. Now, if you're out there, this is the time to get some snacks, get some food, put the kettle on, you know. Oh, as MaxPax does commit. Jesus. Does attempt to commit in. And what I do appreciate here is the switch into Sky Toss. It does get scanned, but basically as soon as MaxPax realizes, as we were pointing out, oh, like Cure, he has no intention of pushing. Like he is turtling up real hard right now. Time for Tempest. Time for Sky Toss. This is typically the best answer for this kind of style. Going up against a very turtly Terran player with Liberators, with Planetaries, with Missile Turrets, is to go into that Sky Toss transition. MaxPax is getting ready for it. There are a lot of Protoss players that are a little bit stubborn, and even MaxPax has been guilty of this at times as well, where they see this and instead they just keep hammering down that Zealot key. I mean, again, look at the mineral bank. It's tempting, right? You've got 4,000 minerals on the bank, so just keep warping in Zealots and just move in and try to overwhelm and try to brute force the forward base, right? And just try to break the expansion. It's very tempting to do so, so I appreciate that MaxPax isn't trying to do that and is switching into Tempest. The temptation is there, don't you? We've seen many a Protoss player be like, yo, I've got 5k minerals in the bank, let's just send it. Let's just ape into this wall of Terran and hey, sometimes it works, you know? Sometimes it does work, to be fair. There's a reason why they do it. But it is risky, especially with Cure going so quickly into mass live. Here you go. Citadel's on away. As again, he does break forward. Once again, just keeping his opponent on that, just in check. And ideally, MaxPax has to deny the 5th base. Yeah, he has to rotate. He has to rotate over. There's one thing about, you know, respecting and understanding the Cure, he's going to be secure and stable on 4 bases, but MaxPax cannot allow a 5th base to get up. He cannot allow for it. He has to fight for it. MaxPax, he rotates. Likewise, Nova's going to be going up. Liberation zones do punish the ground army, though. Yeah, MaxPax, he's punished. Disruptor's going to be going down. Tempest are exposed. He needs that ground support. Now losing a Disruptor. Yeah, Disruptor's going down. Vikings, they pop off. They break down the Tempest. 1, 2, 3. Tempest going down. Zealots, they do pop off, though. Oh, my God. The Zealots trade well. Yeah, they trade well for themselves. The Planetary does finish. And MaxPax, again, trying to build back up. Making 3 more Tempests, making more Colossus. Unfortunately, he does not deny the 5th. And that is a big power spike for the Terran. Secure now, upon getting a 5th base, can now max out, can sustain these trades, making 8 Liberators at a time. Oh my God. So many Liberators. Unfortunately, this little outpost here isn't set up on the top side, so that's where MaxPax is a little bit weaker. Does poke in, does distract at the same time, going for a Zealot run by. DTs as well. Can he get the Planetary? Blinks in. Nice snipe. Yeah, nice snipe, nice blink. There are 2 more volleys, and the Planetary does go down. Nice pickup. Takes down the Planetary and takes down the forward base. And we spoke about how important it was for MaxPax to kill the 5th. He kills the 5th and the 4th. So nice moves. Nice damage here by MaxPax. Pulling Cure apart. Ooh, as MaxPax does overextend. Yeah, big overextension. Tempest getting called out. Losing 1, losing 2. Potentially up to 3 Tempests. He has to get the hell out of here. Yeah, has to pull away. Again, a dicey moment there for MaxPax. Ooh, that's not the kill. Yeah, and the kill that'll cancel. Another expansion goes down. Works in, another Tempest goes down. But overall, this is still worth it here for MaxPax. Look at that bank. Is lacking gas, of course, and could do with taking extra gas geysers. But for the most part, MaxPax is maintaining his position. A couple of key pickups, getting a Viking, getting a Liberator here and there. It all slowly does add up. Oh, bit of miscontrol. Throwing away some Stalkers. MaxPax has to be careful. MaxPax rotates over. Nice nuke here on the side defense. Doesn't quite get a Liberator. Rotating over towards the north base, towards that northern expansion. Oh. He's late to respond. Uh-oh. Yeah, he's late. Coming in for the surround, shows her storms. Yeah, nice storm with the Liberators. Massive storm. Yeah, catching at the main army. Jesus. A lot of Liberators going down. You know, MaxPax claiming another expansion. Taking more bases. I would appreciate if he did prioritize mining one of his expansions as well, just to ensure that Cure doesn't take them later. But at least he's got some saturation, some mining. Oh! Tempest get caught. Losing 1, 2 Tempest, 3 Tempest go down. Jesus. Late reaction out of MaxPax. Pulled away 1 second too late. Going for the dive. Not enough Liberators. He does clean up. Yeah, cleans up every single Liberator. Massive storm of the Vikings. Storm pops up. Another storm on the ramp. Cure being bullied back. Jeez, that's a lot of Vikings, but now it's all about the ground army. Catching more Tempest though. Yeah, more Tempest goes down. Zealous reinforcements have arrived, and with that, MaxPax he can overwhelm. He can overwhelm the army. There's no planetary in the low ground. MaxPax he has to back up though. Barely doesn't have enough, but he's not stopping. He's not stopping. Another nuke on the cannons. Ooh. Tempest gets caught out. Uh-oh. MaxPax, does he know? No! He doesn't see! Oh! His nuke goes off. Mainly on cannons, thank God. Jesus. MaxPax, calm down, Pappy, calm down. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, that could have been disastrous. Secure, he does beat out a drop. Decent damage, but what's most concerning here for Cure is lack of Liberators, right? He's hyperfixated on his Vikings, but he lost every single Liberator early, so he has been reset. Has to build back up those Liberators. Until then, Cure, he's vulnerable. He is vulnerable. Yeah, Zealous, they just collapse in, going for the Ghost. And honestly, the Zealous, they just keep going. They just killed every single Ghost, by the way. Oh, almost. So what, 3 left? MaxPax playing it safe. Switching into Mass Stalker. At this point, there are too many Vikings. Unfortunately, Curie has so much supply tied up in Vikings, and MaxPax, he has stopped making Tempest. So the Vikings aren't as useful. Ah boy, back up to how many Liberators? 6? Not bad. Back up to 6 Liberators. Mothership is coming in for the recall. The Liberators are out of position. Army comes in and going for the planetary. A massive pickup. Massive recall. Recall's over, takes out an expansion. Again, fighting out of range of the Liberators. No splash damage though, no storms. Yeah, Colossus rallies in from behind. A messy fight here from MaxPax, very messy. We're getting messy, Bappy. But MaxPax has a bank. Oh, nice storm. Very nice storm. Storm does punish. Ghost gets called out. And once again, resetting all those Liberators. Finally, they get reactivated. That entire time, they were just left idle. Not the Liberators, Bappy. As they're floating over at the same time, DT's all around by does hit the center base. Jesus, catching SCVs. They're the command center. Going for the CC. It's going to be close. Doesn't get it. Doesn't quite get it. Had template gets thrown away. That's still going to be another 11 SCVs. There's still Zealots and DTs in the main as well. And GG gets called. GG gets called. Cure, he has nothing left. And MaxPax, he will extend his lead 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. An interesting style here by Cure, for Cure to go into Mass Liberator so early and just hunker down on 4 bases. As I mentioned, I really did like the mature decision here from MaxPax to switch into his Sky Toss, to go for extra starports, to go for the Fleet Beacon, and to switch into Mass Tempest. As you saw, he was able to, as a result, have an answer to the Mass Liberator count, and also forced out so many Vikings. And we saw how fluid you can be with that kind of style. It's very similar to how Zerg players operate as well. Ready to switch into a ground army at a moment's notice. If once they commit into Broodlord Corruptor, for example, if there are too many Vikings, then they can switch in something else, into the ground, into the sky, and then catch you off guard. Here, very similar, going for that massive ground switch into Zealots and Stalkers. And again, the mass Viking just wasn't as valuable. And likewise, even saw MaxPax just out positioning with the Mothership. We had the Mothership recall, we had the out positioning with the rotating as well. Very rough defense there for Cure. He eventually got his 5th base, but could barely maintain it. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be loading into game number 3, potentially the final game of the series. I'm hoping for a back and forth. I want to see a game 4, a game 5, but the pressure is on Cure. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss. Oh, with the Red Protoss himself, representing Sidestorm Gaming, leading the series 2-0. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player, the blue Terran player himself, representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Here we go. MaxPax came around right as the Owlstar project wrapped up. Kappa. Once again, we had like so many voice interviews with MaxPax. We've winners interviews as well. He's just a Danish kid playing Protoss, Pappy. Damn well, of course. Damn well. No. As from here, we are going to be settling in. So far, we do have our openers, and welcome to 10,000 feet. So 10,000 feet is one of the smaller maps of the map pool. Smaller map, shorter rush distance by ground. We have Cure, opening up double gas. I think for the first time this series, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So for the first time this series, double gas opener, faster factory, delayed CC out of Cure. Let's go. Here we go. Go. Ahí están. Bienvenidos. Did you see the Parzival pick I posted? Oh, hold on. In our Discord? I think so. Hold on. Are you talking about the German poetry? Are you? Ah. Let's go. Is that God damn, is that meant to be a pun on Percival? God damn it. True. He foretold Percival's coming. True. He foretold his retirement and his return and his rise to prominence. Ah. It was all foretold. True. As we do have MaxPax breaking in. Does catch a Marine. Does catch Marine behind the thing. We have the earlier 1-1-1 setup here out of Kira. Earlier 1-1-1. Catching out a Marine. As from here, we do have MaxPax building up his own 3-gate setup, 3-gate blink. 3-gate blink here, a very safe opener out of MaxPax going for his Robo as well, also on 2 bases. This does make a lot of sense considering the map, but also considering the opener of Cure. Because of the 1-1-1, you have early tank, early Viking. Cure, he's committing into an early push. The way this works here is that Vikings actually do trade very well in these early all-ins because landed Vikings do bonus damage to armored units to Stalkers. So landed Vikings are actually, they add a lot of DPS, and here we go, we might even pull the boys. We might even pull the boys. You got hyper aggression out of Cure. MaxPax, what has he seen? He hasn't seen much. But now distracted by the drop. He is distracted. We're waiting for that second tank. And it's going to be all or nothing. Let's go. And Cure is moving out. Ideally, MaxPax, he wants to slow this down, but for now, he's distracted by the drop. You can see Cure trying to catch up the army here in the center of the map. Meanwhile, MaxPax is looking. There we go. The boys are being pulled to repair. And MaxPax, he still doesn't see this. He's expanding. It's going to be a tough hold. It's going to be a shaky defense here from MaxPax. He does now spot the army. The Prism gets caught. And barely will break the lock on. Oh no! Ooh, does not. Yeah, it doesn't get away. MaxPax, he has less micro potential. Blink is done. Catching out one of the Vikings. And can he get on top of the tanks, though? That's the real question. Can he get on top of the tanks? Oh, gets one shot off. Immortal's on the way. Tanks to get within range here of the Robo. If the Robo goes down, that's going to be game. He's going to commit in. Gets one, gets 2 tanks. Oh god, he's going to lose everything. Yeah, he's going to lose everything in the process. Cure, he snowballs out of control. He breaks through the Stalkers, gets on top of the Robo, depowers everything. Their Tosis pylon goes down. And Curie's doing it. From here we can pull the boys, but there's only 2 Stalkers. Only 2 Stalkers left. The Vikings, they trade so well against the probes. We have 3 reinforcing Stalkers, okay. 5 in total. Here comes the warp in. There's the energy overcharge. Repowers the Robo. MaxPax, he's holding. No shot. MaxPax, he's holding on. He cleans this up. Remember, he has a 3rd base behind this. MaxPax, he is miles ahead if he survives, and he is surviving. Cleans everything up, takes down the Viking. Cure, he was so close. He depowered the Robo. He was in the mineral line. He was doing so well for himself. But MaxPax, he bought enough time for a warp in. He was able to preserve 3 of those Stalkers. And now Cure, he's in a rough position here. Again, that was basically an all-in that had to end the game. Winding it back, the 3rd base is delayed. The tech is delayed. There's no follow-up upgrades. eBay just now finished. There's no stim. There's no combat shields. There's nothing. And MaxPax saved the 3rd. He got away with it. So coming into this, I have to give the edge to MaxPax. Yes, Cure, he has a comparable worker count, that is true, but that will soon change. Right? That will soon change because we're making 3 probes at a time. Likewise, as we mentioned, all the tech and all the upgrades are non-existent because the game was never meant to last this long. So Cure's got a ways to go, he's got a ways to recover. MaxPax has map control. Diving into the main. Does dip in, threatening the army. It does threaten. From here, pulls away. For now, just distracting you in the center. Ready for the backstab. Cure is claiming his third. And MaxPax won't be able to slow him down, but he's getting into Storm. We have Storm on the way. 4th base is on the way for MaxPax as well. We're building up into the mid game. Stellar drop into the natural. Nice damage. Getting 2-3 SCVs. And doesn't lose any zealots. Nice trades here to MaxPax. Very nice. And he pulls away. Does pull away. Once again, MaxPax, he has a Storm. Jesus, he has 4 High Templar ready. Head up for the forward base. There are 2 tanks in position. MaxPax, can he get on top of the tanks? A little bit too soon. Okay, he has to calm down. High Templar exposed. He will lose. Actually, won't lose any of them. Back away in time. But again, MaxPax is playing with fire right now. There's a bunch of fire here waiting for him. And he pulls away. Okay, pulls away, taking another base, getting to 5 bases. Now, this is where the map itself is quite scary here. Well, under 10,000 feet, this has the shortest rush distance by ground in the entire map pool. It takes very little time to move from your side to your opponent's side of the map. That means that if you have momentum like this, catching the War Prism, catching out all these Zealots, pushes hit so fast and so quickly. You have very little time to breathe, very little room. High Templar gets caught out. MaxPax setting up for a flank. Catching reinforcements, very nice. It does catch reinforcements, Marauders, Marines as well. Cure going for the 5th expansion. Tanks do siege up. Yeah, tanks siege, they force a cancel. Nice denial here from Cure. A nice pre-split as well. And the pre-split pack. As the army is kind of trapped, we have MaxPax instead going for the Zealot runby. There's not actually much at home to defend. Works in. Oh, the Templar. No, miscontrol. No, the misrally. Losing 3 High Templar full of energy. Ay. Yeah, miscontrol here at a MaxPax. He rallies in. At the same time, he does make up for that with 11 SCV kills, but imagine if he still had those 3 High Templar. We gotta tighten up, back. Gotta tighten up. We're getting messy. There's MaxPax expanding in the center right-hand location. Cure gets away. And Cure, more importantly, he preserves this army. True. Does preserve the army. Still has a lot to work with here with his Ghost, now with his tanks. Again, this is still anyone's game. Obviously, I do prefer Cure's main army in a head-on fight. He's got a massive amount of marauders, his army is built to tank storms. And soon should be switching into Liberators. For now, just Vikings. Vikings are amassing to help deal with the Colossi. So now we're backing off, we're building up. 4th CC is on the way for Cure. You could argue that the 4th base is late, but because he canceled the 5th base earlier, like, it's fine. And there's that fusion core for a sign of Liberators. So Curie's perfecting his army. MaxPax is the first to max out. I would say it's ill-advised for MaxPax to try to break this position. Right now, Curie's completely centralized here at the forward third. It's the only place to attack as well. Ideally, you want to wait for Curie to take a 4th base, to spread himself thin. Speaking of, there's the 4th. MaxPax, he breaks in. Massive EMP. EMPs do connect. MaxPax trying to distract. Storm doesn't quite land. Oof. Taking a bunch of tank shots to the face. MaxPax, he spots the expansion. And can he deny? He's committing. It does try to commit in. Storm does zone. EMPs land. And Cure holds. Yeah, Curie does hold on. MaxPax, I believe he didn't really lose too many high-tech units, thankfully. Just mainly Zealot. Yeah, Zealot's maybe a High Templar. So he's trying to poke in. He can't really gain much ground here. Storm mainly on the Vikings. At the same time, does try to commit into the Planetary, but the Planetary does hold its own. And Cure defends. Cure, he defends. MaxPax was a little bit wasteful here, and now we make the decision. Oh no, the High Templar get called out. Massive pickups. MaxPax is switching to Skytos, but the difference between this game and the last one is that this is a much later decision. Much later. And on top of that, MaxPax just bled out a bunch of supply. Cure at any moment can push. There's a window in time here where MaxPax is vulnerable, where Cure can move out. For now, getting a 5th CC. He might just turtle. There's limited range, advanced ballistics. He might decide to turtle up instead. As MaxPax is setting up, setting up his outpost, cannons, shield batteries. Should be seeing one here in the center, here towards the left, we already have it, and over towards ideally the right. Yeah, here taking over the center expansion. At the same time, Prism slips in, causing a distraction. No major damage. Oh, the massive EMPs. Jesus. The EMPs pop off, 2 Colossus goes down. Yeah, MaxPax here overextends. Losing 2 Colossus for free. Again, MaxPax's main army is still lacking. It's still very much so lacking here. Again, there are just so many ghosts, so many EMPs available. Oh, very nice stasis. Okay. Stasis goes off. That's EMP on one of the High Templar. There's 5 Templar left. Stasis is about to run out. Uh-oh. Yeah, he comes in for the surround. Yeah, nice flank, nice surround. Cannons and shield wires are dealt with, and MaxPax has to get the hell out of here. Has to pull away. Once again, he gets caught out. Losing the Archon, the Immortal. And Cure, he might just have too much here. Yeah, he has too much. Now there's 0 splash damage, no Colossus, no High Templar. He's stimming forward. He stims. And he breaks through. There's 1 storm. It's not bad, but it's not enough. Yeah, it's not going to be enough here. Cure, he has done it. Again, MaxPax had just so many poor fights in the lead up to this. Throwing away supply, losing momentum. And despite having these range bases, it doesn't matter. Does not matter. Cury's going for the kill. Going for the natural. He's going in back. Oof. And catching out the Archons, the Tempest, the Colossus, the everything back. As you saw, step forward, we stim and we win. There's a handful of Zealots left. We got a couple of Zealots coming in for a flank. MaxPax trying to hold on. Jesus, oh my god, that's crazy, Storm. The Storms are pretty good. They're very good. But GG gets called, and Curie does put a point on the board. GG. Whew, GG, well played. We have a back and forth here. Again, this map is so unforgiving just because of the size of the map. Once you lose momentum, bam, it creates an opening, and then you can just send it across the map. Curie took one very strong fight in the center, and that just snowballed into a win from there. GG. GG, well played. But as I was mentioning previously here, MaxPax had a really shaky mid-game as he was constantly just committing in, throwing away Zealots, High Templar, Colossus, Tempest, Prisms as well. I would say that MaxPax, he was overly aggressive, especially on 10,000 feet. It's a hard call to make, but 10,000 feet, as you saw, as we tried to point out, the 4-base setup is very condensed. It's very centralized. So unlike on other maps, the Terran player, they can just sit their army in the middle and defend all 4 locations. They can defend all 4 bases, whereas on other maps they have to spread themselves thin, commit supply towards one side, towards the other side. Here it's all centralized, easier to defend and easier to punish an overly aggressive Protoss. GG. GG, well played. With that, we have a series. We have a back and forth here, and can Cure force the ace match? Let's go. Up next, going to be loading into Tourmaline. Let's go. Let us go. This morning in the top right-hand corner here of Tourmaline, we have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself. We have the Danish Protoss. He is still ahead in the series, still one game away from claiming the series, and we'll see if he can claim it here and now. For System Gaming, it is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player, the blue Terran himself, representing Team Liquid. It is a Cure. Here we go. And welcome once again to Tourmaline. Tourmaline has some similar features to the previous map. We're here on Tourmaline. It is very small, short rush distance by ground. Aggression is heavily favored here, and we do often see a lot of all-ins on Tourmaline. If you remember, how did Cure begin the last game? He went for an all-in. He went for a 2-base all-in, and he barely failed to kill MaxPax. He was forced into a longer game. Here we could see something similar. Once again, double gas. Went for the same opener last game. Double gas, faster factory, faster starport, potentially faster tank production. So eyes are on Cure. Again, higher chance he's going to be aggressive here. Here we go. Here we go. So now we are going to be building up. TVP needs an option to be played in the mid game. For the most part, I see you mean Terran for Protoss. For the most part, the consensus is that the mid game is very, very difficult for Terran. It's like the horseshoe like effect where you could argue that Terran player has stronger early game and late game, but weaker mid game. I would say that there are some builds and there are some ways to play the mid game, but they're typically very specialized. I think a good example of that, Bjorn is very fond of this. Meanwhile, Maru and Clem, they mix it in every now and then, even Cure as well. But going 3cc 3 racks, if you can get away with that, if you can get away with a greedy build, that does hit very strong in the mid game. That's an example of that, but that's a very niche build, right? Like it's a very specific kind of opener you have to go for. Typically that relies on a larger map as well. That's ill-advised on Tourmaline or on 10,000 feet. There are ways to play the mid game, but it's a little bit more restrictive if you want to be active and aggressive in the mid game, for sure. As a Terran. Meanwhile, Twilight Council opener out of MaxPax. Let's go Twilight Council. Meanwhile, Kira behind this going for his own faster factory into faster starports. And we'll see where this leads us. We'll see where he takes us. Let's go. Here we go. For now, the CC is going to be delayed. Delays CC at the same time. Reaver gets across the map, gets 2 probe kills, as some damage, which is nice, but Cure still cannot expand. Cyclone is revealed. Does confirm the tech that was made, not the reactor. True. Oh, into early add-on swap. Okay. So singular Cyclone. From here, we can go into early Banshee, early Raven. What do you have for us? And this is going to be committed Cloak Banshee. Let's go. Cloak Banshee's on the way. MaxPax is playing safe. He's going for a 3-gate opener into Robo. It's very common to play safe here on Tourmaline. Again, because the map is so small, it is ill-advised to go for a greedier build. So it's playing it safe. This will give access to detection. MaxPax, he will have the tools to defend. He will have the tools, but it comes down to the execution. So now our players are building up. Yeah, players are building up. We do have our Banshees moving out on the right-hand side. So far, MaxPax, he has no idea. He did not scout the main. He's pushing with his Prism, with his Stalkers. There's going to be one Observer back into the defense. And there are no... sorry, there's two. There's 2 defensive Stalkers. MaxPax, he pokes in. Pokes in, 2 SCV kills. Okay damage. Banshee into the main. MaxPax, he's ready. Yeah, he's in position. He's in position. Detection is available. And the Banshee will be shut down. Yeah, rough start here for Cure. At the same time, Adepts, they don't quite make their way in. But the Banshee is denied. It denies the Banshee. Moving out early on. Bearing in mind, remember, this is pre-stim. There is no stim, no combat shields, no bio upgrades. The bulk of the damage comes from the tanks and from the Banshee. Yeah, boys are being pulled. Cure, he's committing. Nice pickup. Yeah, Prism goes down. That means there's no backstab. No backstab, no counter warp in. It is going to be go time for Cure. And MaxPax, he's aware. He's getting a second pylon. So second pylon, battery is done, and getting safety immortals. Cure throws down 4 more. Oh my god, wait, what? He throws down 4 more Raxes. Okay. Getting up to 6 Raxes on 2 bases. Now, what's interesting here is that Cure, he's going to back off. But I believe this should be a 2-base all-in. Yeah, it's a 2-base all-in here. He's going for a 6 Rax 2-base all-in. But this is going to hit a little bit later here. This is interesting. So a couple of things just happened. MaxPax, he saw the attempted move out. This was not the initial plan, going into 6 Raxes. This wasn't the initial plan, but MaxPax, he saw the move out. That's why he threw down the second pylon. That's why he made this safety immortal. Cure, he knows he got scouted, so he backs off. He backs off, and instead, he's macroing up into a 2-base all-in, into a later 2-base all-in. He's hoping that MaxPax probes up, MaxPax techs, and MaxPax takes a 4th base and is overly greedy. Now, what's important here is that MaxPax is checking for a 3rd. There is no 3rd expansion. MaxPax still has to confirm that there's no 3rd CC in the main. So here comes a hallucination. He needs to get eyes on the main base. There's nothing to stop it. Yeah, there's no denial of the scouts. Gets into the main, sees 4 Raxes so far. And does he confirm the extra 2? For all you know, there could still be a CC here. There could still be a CC on the low ground. Yeah, MaxPax, he does not confirm. That's a little bit scary. Yeah, it's a little bit scary here. Again, for all he knows, there could be a command center here. He didn't confirm the extra Raxes. This would have been the tell that it was an all-in coming. But he will spot the move out. Oh, never mind. Storm is on the way. There we go. Now he knows. Yeah, does see the army. The boys are being pulled. Again, here comes the 2-base all-in. Storm is on the way. How many High Templar? 2. Soon to be 4. So 4 High Templar. There's the energy overcharge. Storm is still not yet done. 10 more seconds. He's almost there. 3, 2, 1. He's gonna have 4 storms. That might be enough. Yeah, that might be enough. There's a first storm. Yeah, there's one, there's two left. Tank boy is going up, there's a third storm. And there's one storm remaining. The army does get low. We have extra Zealot Warpins. Again, MaxPax is still holding on to one storm. The Robo is going to go down. It takes out the Robo. Zealots take a lapse in. They get the first tank. They get one tank. They're trying to get on top of the other. We get a decent storm, and it looks like MaxPax will clean up. Oh, it's close. It's so close. He gets the tank. Tank goes down. And MaxPax is holding. He's holding on. I say that we still have more reinforcements coming in, going for the Immortal. Trying to. MaxPax cleans up the army, forces back Cure. Overextending a little bit here. Yeah, it does overextend. Uh-oh. We'll lose the Immortal. We'll lose the Immortal, but look at this. A massive Warping of High Templar. And now Cure, he has no backbone. He has no tank. He has no tank. He has no Banshees. It was close. It was clutch, but alas, he just didn't. It didn't pay off. Did not work out. Just does not have enough. As time goes on, MaxPax, he's up 30 probes. Remember, Cure, it was a 2-base all in. He pulled the boys. It was all or nothing. He just doesn't have enough. Yeah, not like this. As another storm does zone away. MaxPax still has 3 more storms available, or soon to be 3 more. Doesn't want to be too wasteful though. Down to 2. 2 storms left, warping in more zealots. Down to 1. 1 storm remaining. How about plenty of charge lots? Yeah, plenty of charge lots. He does collapse in. Collapses on the army. Curie has to get the hell out of here. Has to pull away. And he bleeds out so many Marauders. That's what, 5, 6 Marauders going down. Ugh. A brutal storm. We're missing Zealots, true. We're missing Charge Zealots. Behind this, remember, there's no 3rd CC. Like, this entire time, for the past 10 minutes, it's been a 2-base all-in. Curie's been trying to end it. This Zealot counterattack is kind of crazy. This tells me that MaxPax's main army is going to be a little bit weaker. So a bold move going for the run by. Will catch reinforcements. Will kill SCVs, and this kind of just forces the all in. It confirms it. The Curie cannot sustain his all in, I should say. Let's see, we'll lose mules, 3 SCVs. The entire army turns back around. Yeah. In the end, this was worth it. I was concerned that this was going to trigger Cure to commit, but no, he comes back home. Dropping to the natural. And as time goes on, it's getting easier and easier for MaxPax. Like, he's just getting a stronger defense, a stronger economy, a 4th expansion's on the way against a 2-basing Terran. Against really a 1-basing Terran. Army gets spotted. Cure does trade efficiently. Yo, we got an academy on the way? What? Okay, sure, I guess. Yeah, GG gets cool. The writing is on the wall, and MaxPax, he will claim the series 3-1, becoming this week's PiGosaur Cup champion. GG. Whew. GG, well played in the end. Again, a very hyper-aggressive build here by Cure, opening up with the 2-base all-in and following it up with a delayed 2-base all-in, getting up to 6 Raxes, did pull the boys. We did see that MaxPax, he was able to scout ahead of time. He did have that safety pylon to make sure his Robo stayed powered, and again, he needed 10 seconds to finish up Storm and barely did finish up in time. He had 4 High Templar, he had 4 Storms available. It was 4 to 6 if I recall correctly. Plenty of storms, bought a lot of time, shut down the all-in. GG, well played. It was close, it was clutch, but thankfully MaxPax, he was able to scout ahead of time to be aware of the initial all-in, to play safe as a result, and he was ready in time, did shut it down. GG. It was impressive that Cure, he was able to sustain his all-in for as long as he did, but again, as time progressed, it was becoming weaker and weaker, right? It was just becoming stronger and stronger for MaxPax's setup, and eventually shut him down. GG, well played with that. Congratulations to MaxPax. My condolences to Cure, as MaxPax will claim the series 3-1, becoming the PiGosaur Cup number 65 champion. But I don't want to take away from Cure, because Cure, he didn't just take a map. I could see him taking more, and we could have even seen an ace match here. But Cure, he poked off against herO, he poked off against Creator. Cure, he did achieve, and he did take down many a strong Protoss to make it to the finals. It's a very impressive play here by Cure. Very impressive. GG, well played. As MaxPax does claim the win, and with that we have our champion, and we're going to be wrapping up here for the time being. As a reminder, this was a replay cast, and the actual PiGosaur Cup is on Wednesdays. Bam! Let's have a look. Let's have a look at our schedule here. As you can see, we just wrapped up with our Monday evening broadcast. We just wrapped up with PiGosaur Cup, and you can see the PiGosaur Cup logo of the PiGosaur itself. You can see it on Wednesday. That is the live broadcast. That is going to be this week's live broadcast of PiGosaur Cup. That is going to be Wednesday morning. In between, though, we do have one more cast Tuesday morning as well. That's going to be the OSC Elite Rising Star Tournament, featuring the up-and-coming players in the StarCraft scene. So we are going to be live tomorrow with OSC. That is going to be in around 12 hours. 12 hours time, we're going to be live with our next cast. Again, Wednesday morning, we have PiGosaur Cup. Wednesday evening, we have Wardy TV Monday. We have the Pondcast. We have Little League Cup, KSL, SDO, STC. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft. There's a very high chance you can see that on Tuesday. Sorry, I meant to say on Thursday. On Thursday, you can see that there's like a morning slot available. Most likely, we will be filling that up with another cast. We just have to confirm. And most likely we'll be having another broadcast there. So for the most part, we're live twice a day, every single day. We cast more StarCraft than anyone else out there, more than Wardy, more than Steadfast, more than anyone else. We have the quantity, and we have a little bit of the quality as well. But I should also emphasize that one of the reasons why we've had a bunch of replay casts recently is because January we were unavailable. Like January, we were very, very much so unavailable, so we couldn't cast as much in January. So we've been catching up on a lot of StarCraft in February here with Rongi Cup, with Thunderfire, with Home Story Cup, with PiGosaur Cups like this one. This was a replay cast. Like PiGosaur Cups, like Wardy TV Mondays. Even Little League Cup as well. Like this is going to be a catch-up, a week of catch-up Little League Cup as well, to catch up what we missed out on last week. So there's been a lot of catching up from us. Eventually we'll catch up, and then we can slow things down a little bit. So to the point where we can have like maybe one cast a day. One cast a day would be ideal, but for now, like we have a more intense schedule, a little bit more intense. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And again, we'll be live in 12 hours with our next cast with OSC Elite Rising Star. We'll be there. We will be there. Otherwise, if you want to support us, and if you want to support the players, the scene, and StarCraft, you can do so via Patreon. !Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments on a regular basis. Specifically, what are our tournaments? I mean, if you can see here on our schedule, you can see some events that stand out amongst the others. That is the Sea Duckling Open and the and the Sparkling Tuna Cup. And the Sparkling Tuna Cup. I can actually show it off here, I believe. Bam. Yeah, there we go. You can see it on my left. But these are the 3 tournaments that we do host on a regular basis: Sea Duckling Open, Sparkling Tuna Cup, and Master Swan Open. 2 of them are amateur events for Diamond players and for Master players. Tuna Cup is open to pro players. That's where we have players like Beyond, herO, Shin, Solar, Classic, Showtime, all facing off on a weekly basis. So these are the 3 tournaments we have, and again, they're all funded via Patreon. All funded. You actually see under my camera. Under my camera, you can see our Patreon, how much we make, and our next goal as well. So you can help support us there if you wish. Again, to boost the prize pool of our tournaments and to help us grow our events as well. You can help us out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Our next, if you see something that you like, for example, back to our schedule, bam. If you see something that you like, and if you can't watch it live, for example, say Home Story Cup, we just finished casting the entirety of Home Story Cup, the group stage and the playoffs. We casted Thunderfire, which featured Scarlet, Innovation made his return, MMA as well, Oliveira. We had some legend show matches during Thunderfire. If you miss out on some of these events, and if you want to watch them live, or if you want to catch up on the VOD, YouTube is the place to be. We do upload to YouTube on a daily basis. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft over on YouTube, so you can check it out there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support, and we'll see you guys next time. Whether it's tomorrow in 12 hours, or whether it's on Wednesday at a more European-friendly time, or what have you, we'll see you next time. See you then. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and hasta luego. Ciao, baby, ciao. Hasta luego. Till next time.